and welcome to episode 17 of the Hall of Gamers podcast. This is a weekly show where we talk about all things Xbox achievements, and this week, almost certainly Forza Horizon 5 for at least half the show. This week, I'm joined by my stick shift-loving co-host Cameron.
Hey, hey.
And our special guest Mike.
Hey.
We'll talk to him in a moment, but without any further ado, Cameron's going to get us into a banger of the Song of the Week, flawlessly without forgetting to mute or unmute or screwing anything up technically. They told me, don't you pick up that chair, stop beating up the students till they disappear. But they got in our way, so I really don't care, so cheese it, just cheese it. You better punch, you better kick in the air, through tiger wrestlers, cops, and macho men. You wanna beat the boss, better learn how to spam, so cheese it. You don't gotta play fair, so cheese it. Cheese it. Co-op makes it really easy. Taking on gangsters, zombies all night. It doesn't matter who's next to the fight. Just cheese it. Just cheese it. Just cheese it. Just cheese it.
Alright, I think I know this one.
Oh, please tell me you know this one, Cameron. Please.
You better.
I can't deal. If you, like, I would literally walk off if you do not know this one, okay? Like, this is the easiest one I've done ever.
Is it Beat It?
Yes, okay, who sings it?
Fall Out Boy.
No!
No, what? Fall Out Boy?
Okay,
you
look,
just say Fall Out Boy.
Okay, technically, yes, they did a cover of it.
Okay, look, it's Michael Jackson. I obviously know it's Michael Jackson.
Yes, okay.
But I just wanted to say Fall Out Boy for a second there because it was
gosh.
on the Greatest Hits album.
Oh, God, I'm going to give you a great hit in a minute. Jesus Christ.
Beat It during No Nut November.
Yeah,
never.
That would be Matt's line of thinking too.
Look, I've been playing a beat 'em up this week. I thought I'd try and integrate it into the song. Jesus Christ, try and do something creative, and people think I have nefarious intentions.
God, Xbox Game Pass making us play beat 'em ups on No Nut November. What are they doing?
All right, well, good job, guys. I'm glad you both got it. Did anyone in chat get it?
Charlotte, what the fuck, Cameron?
Ojan thought it might have been WAP. Yep, that's that's a good guess, I guess.
There's probably been a few covers.
Oh, I've beat it. Yeah, heaps of them. I will admit right now, the reason I picked this song was because it fit well into the game I was playing, and also because I happened to be listening to "Eat It" by Weird Al, and I was like, actually, that's pretty good. I can go with that. So it
would have been funny if Cameron said "Eat It."
Yeah, I would accept Weird Al.
I've heard that too, so I should have done that.
Yeah, I would.
I thought Fall Out Boy was funny enough.
You're gonna give me
you gave me a heart attack, so yeah. I'd say it did well enough.
I'd probably find the album in this room for it too.
Yeah, well.
Oh god.
Let's get into having a chat with our guest there, Mike. So he's one of the creators of Game Pass Counter, which is a site that allows you to view all the current titles on Game Pass, as well as games leaving, lists for mouse and keyboard support, FPF boosted game, and so on and so forth. He's also the co-host of the They Play Games podcast, a podcast discussing everything video games through the lens of two queer gamers, as well as a games journalist and disabled gamer advocating for accessibility. Welcome to the show, mate. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It's great to chat with you guys.
We're going to grill you with 20 questions, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's totally fine. That's what I'm here for.
I guess the first one is, who are you? Like, what do you, in terms of like, your gaming and that kind of stuff? Like, how do you describe yourself as a quote unquote gamer? Like, what interests you? How did you get started into gaming? That kind of stuff.
My number one motto always is I'll play anything once. So it's kind of hard to deter that down a little bit in something easy, like a sentence, Sure. If I had to just say, like, my favorite kinds of stuff to play, I'm a big RPG guy, specifically of the Japanese variety. I have been deemed somewhat of a weeb by some of my friends, but I also like first-person shooters. I like strategy games a lot. Indies are a really big scene that I love to support and talk about, which is part of what we're doing with the They Play Games podcast as well, is trying to highlight indie games from queer women or queer female minority developers throughout the industry. But I mean, I got my start back I'm a I baby is what I like to say. I'm a baby. So the first console that I have a lot of recollection of playing is the original Xbox. But that came out when I was 3, 2. I'm young. But other than that, I mean, I grew up with a little bit of everything. Having split parents, I was fortunate in one regard, whereas my mom had PlayStation consoles, my dad had Xbox consoles, and then they bought us kids Nintendo consoles. So I grew up with a little bit of everything. Some of my favorite games from that period were like Halo 2, Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, and some of the original Ratchet and Clank games. So very, very diverse taste. No console wars for me, even though I did make Game Pass counter. Please don't believe that I am just a biased Xbot in that regard. I'll play anything as long as it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude to have, and I 100% identify with all that, right? Like it's especially the weeb stuff. I love me some good love me some good JRPGs.
Yeah, but they're long completions.
Well, that's always the problem, right? It's the weighing up. Act. So where am I going to find the time? I could complete 20 games.
I mean, like, look, Final Fantasy VIII is in leaving Game Pass at the moment. It's only like 20 to 25 hours.
It's true because
Probably
it has cheats.
Best options.
Yeah, it's what I'm doing.
Yeah, like that's the solution here. Just give all JRPGs cheats.
Just add ×3 speed on all JRPGs, and you'll.
Or just give us the cutscenes. That's going to be long enough of a game anyway.
True.
Watch that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Sorry, some of us will watch that.
Here's an achievement for watching 1 hour of the cutscene.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's an achievement for watching 2 hours of the cutscene.
Well,
I see you played the Metal Gear Solid series.
You played the whole game without skipping any cutscenes. Here's an achievement.
I see you've played the Netflix app that released back in like 2013.
Yeah, exactly. Watch so many series, rate a bunch of them, and you get all the achievements. Cameron, did you? I guess that's the sort of standard stuff. So do you have any sort of favorites or like a standout series? You talk about like genres and that sort of stuff, but like in like JRPGs, like I'm a big Final Fantasy guy, at least in terms of like 10 and that sort of stuff. And
so when it comes to JRPGs, my series that I'm really attached to is the Mega Tensei series. So Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are my favorites. I really love Persona 5 Royal. I really love Shin Megami Tensei 3. Shin Megami Tensei 5 comes out next week, and I have the Steelbook edition pre-ordered, and I'm extremely excited for it. So those are some standouts for the RPGs, but I'm also a really big Yakuza fan. Like massively, it's all I can talk about half the time is Yakuza.
Play Lost Judgment already, God.
I need to finish Tales of Arise first. Speaking of, Tales of Arise is so good. I watched the intro to that game and I cry. Like, I'm so attached to this game already that I'm in tears whenever the intro plays.
I need to play it. I love Vesperia, like this, and people are saying that it's even better than that.
So I haven't been able to finish any other Tales of games. They just haven't like captured my attention long enough. But man, 10 minutes into Tales of Arise, and I was like, I can't put this game down. I forced myself to put it down so I didn't risk burning out, because sometimes you have to do that with long JRPGs. There's a risk of burnout with any long game. So I've learned to pace myself so that I don't ruin the experience for myself, and so far I haven't. It's so good. But yes, I will be starting Lost Judgment as soon as I finish Tales of Arise, and I'm almost done with Tales of Arise. At least the story. I'm thinking I'm gonna try and go for the completion for it, which I don't do very often for JRPGs.
Cameron and I were talking about this before the show, but we're getting to that time of the year where everyone's like, okay, this is the game of the year, you need to play it. This is the game of the year, you need to play it. And I'm just like, where am I going to find? It's November. I've only got 2 months. It's November.
I don't have the time. And there's more games still coming out.
We were watching.
They're not. It's not like they stopped. They're still coming out.
Quick shout out to Magicast that we were watching last night. But basically, I just said like, every week lately, it's just like this game blank has been the best game that I've ever played. You need to experience blank, and then it changed next week. Like I've got 2 really good games this week that I want to talk about, and obviously one of them's Forza. Yeah,
exactly right.
Obviously.
Cameron, you had some questions here as well.
Yeah. So my next question was like, through the creation of Game Pass Counter, you've had the chance to meet a few like really passionate individuals dedicated to either Xbox or Game Pass. Are there any interactions that you've particularly that have stuck out to you, or that you're like particularly fond of?
So a lot of the big interactions that we have had have been with the Xbox social media accounts themselves. So the Xbox Game Pass account at one point like replied to something that we said, and we're like, "Is this our first fan account? Is this our first fan page?" And I just went, "Yeah, it is. We are." So that was really cool. We've seen Phil Spencer interact with some tweets about us. We've seen like Stein, he follows Game Pass Counter and he follows it closely and stuff like that. So there's a lot of big people in the Xbox world that interact and follow the page regularly that I have the experience to engage with and interact with due to it. And just a lot of that has been really cool. Like these are my idols. You know, growing up with an Xbox in my house, you know, as much as I love all consoles, the Xbox was, you know, with my dad, and he still played games with me when I was a kid. So I have a special connection to the Xbox that I don't have as strong of with some of the other platforms. So like getting to see some of these people at the company that I've looked up to like my whole life as a gamer has just been really unique and special, and not anything I ever expected to happen with anything that I created in my entire life.
That's fair.
Yep.
Pretty big names though.
Yeah, right.
So I know that like just recently, I think like in the last week or so, you were saying that Game Pass kind of hit like what 500,000 views.
It hit 500,000 views a little while ago, so
Okay.
that was closer to the end or the beginning of October. It hit 500,000. I don't know what it's at as of this moment, but it's steadily hitting 100,000 a month, if not more. So I would expect 600, 700,000 visitors by now. Game Pass Counter has had. And as always, our goal is still to try and keep it as simple of a web page as we can. You know, one page, very easy, very accessible for anyone to use. We do have some things that we're planning on trying to integrate into it in the future, but I've had so many weddings this last week. I get married in 2 months. Alex has things going on too, so we've had to kind of put a little bit of a halt on it. Plus I just launched a podcast and all this. We got lots of stuff going on. We're making moves, but we're planning on revisiting Game Pass Counter and trying to integrate a lot of the ideas that we have that are larger than what it is now in the first and second quarter of next year.
I think that's the one critique I have with Game Pass at the moment is through the website. It's just not a really friendly user experience.
Even the app is slow. Mm-hmm. Some of it's inaccurate. Like I'm trying right now, one of the big things, I'm trying to add more lists because I make all of the lists for Game Pass Counter, and I'm trying to make a list for all of the co-op games, local and online co-op games for Game Pass Counter. But both the Microsoft website and the app are horribly inaccurate. Like the Gears of War games are not listed as co-op games. And that's their first party series.
I mean, like,
so it's very difficult for me to make these lists because I don't have any sources to pull from.
It's just like, oh, have I played?
And I haven't played
games?
every game on Game Pass. I haven't played the Gears of War, but I haven't played every game on Game Pass. There's almost 500 games on Game Pass now. We're at 493 at the moment. I don't think the most recent update has been applied to it yet, but we're at 493 according to my documents. So we're almost there. We're almost at 500.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And just to think, like, when I did the Hall of Fame, like, it was me doing 520 games over the duration that Game Pass had been out. And they've added so much more last year.
Yep, there's 500 on there right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's with them removing, like,
stuff.
20 games a month.
Yeah, exactly, right? They've been cycling stuff out pretty quickly, which is to be expected, but it's insane. Like I can't keep up with it. Every now and then I'm just like, someone's like, oh, I've been playing this really cool game. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm not really buying games at the moment. I'm trying to save money. Like, oh no, it's on Game Pass. I'm like, how have I not heard about this? Like,
trust me, there are days where like I feel like I'm going to have a mental breakdown because just every hour there's another game announcement about something on Game Pass. So I have to like text Alex again and be like, okay, there's another update ready. Okay, there's another update ready. Okay, there's another update ready. Because they just like for some reason decided, you know what, today we're not going to announce everything at once. We're going to announce one thing every 2 hours to torture Mike.
It's pretty much the case though. Like you'll have that I think it's like Tuesday night for me where they do the update of what's coming out for the next fortnight.
So for us, that's Monday. They do it on the first Monday of the month and the first Monday after the 15th of the month. They announce new games that are leaving Game Pass. And they're pretty consistent with those days. So I know those days are just gonna mess up my day. I know to save time in the morning for it because they always announce that stuff like like right when I get to work. Yeah. So I have to do my morning stuff and then immediately grind out Game Pass.
I think it's more so like the creators on the social media accounts going like, hey, my game's coming out on the 22nd of February next year.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, quickly. And then you just sometimes get like 3 or 4 on the same day, just announcing all these random dates.
Exactly. That's when it's hard. Yeah, when they're just like, they just decide to announce, oh, we're coming to Game Pass. Haha.
I think, what was it, like the 2 weeks after E3? And I just kept a message.
Yeah, oh my God.
Just like, hey, this game's coming out.
You should have seen me at like when E3 was happening. Like I was just sitting at my desk, like typing furiously, updating the list because of how many games they announced for Game Pass that day. And after it, and then the weeks to follow were just absolutely insane for additions to Game Pass. Like it was rough. it was a hard time. Fortunately, during the summer months, my job's fairly slow, so I was able to keep up with it, but it was still just hard with everything else that was going on.
What else did I have? Was that what impact would you say Game Pass has had on your life and your ability?
Game Pass has, well, first of all, it saved me a lot of money because I used to buy games excessively. My fiance has always told me, you can buy as many games as you want as long as you can still pay rent and the bills. So I bought literally as many games as I possibly could, that as long as I could still pay rent and the bills. But now with Game Pass, I'm able to play games that I would have bought through the Game Pass one. I'm able to support other games that I would have had to push off in other ways. So I'm still buying a lot of games, but like overall, it saved me money because if I bought all of the games that I've played this year through Game Pass, if I bought them with actual money, I would be hundreds of dollars in debt instead of sitting comfortably like I am. So, it's let me play a lot of games that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to play. It's given me the opportunity to create this website that has dramatically altered my life since its creation. It's led me to meet a lot of awesome people, and just opportunities. Game Pass Counter, I would say, has given me a lot of opportunities to interact with people that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to. I've been able to cover games that I would have only dreamed of being able to cover. Like I got a review code for Psychonauts 2 this year, which is, if you know anything about me, I love Psychonauts. So being able to review Psychonauts was just an incredible honor. And all of that is, I would attribute largely to Game Pass Counter and the success that it has had.
So it's safe to say you're a fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I run GamePassCounter.com. I'd say I'm a little bit of a fan. I call myself the knower of Game Pass. I'll be watching Cameron or someone else stream, and they'll be like, "Is this game on Game Pass?" And I'll just type yes, no. They'll just be like, "I'll just wait for Mike to tell me."
Yeah, exactly. It's faster than Google.
It's faster than Google. Yep.
100%. Do you want to take the next one, Matt? Or
I know, go for it, mate. All yours.
All right, so you've said before too, you're a disabled gamer. As a disabled gamer, why is it important to you that accessibility is at the forefront of planning and implementation for game design?
Because even myself, I am disabled, but this disability is a spectrum, right? And I fall towards the privileged side of that spectrum. I do have difficulties in my life because of it, but for the most part, I'm able to live independently without assistance, or the assistance that I need is usually already readily available. But even this year, with that, I have played games that were inaccessible to myself. I tried playing MechWarrior 5 earlier this year, and it didn't have the option to enable subtitles outside of cutscenes, so I was not able to play through missions because I did not know what was being said. I fall on the mild section of the death spectrum, and I also blind in one of my eyes, so I have both visual and auditory disorders, as well as just I have auditory processing disorders too, so like flashing lights and stuff like that I can't do games with. And this isn't anything about difficulty or game design in that regard, but without taking these into mind, you are blocking off games and experiences from so many people. People with disabilities make up 25% of our population, at least in the US, I believe. 25% of the population is disabled. So that's a large chunk of people that you're neglecting. through your game design by just not taking things like this into consideration. And games are for everyone. Everyone should be able to experience games. We should be tearing down barriers, not implementing more, in my opinion. So by taking accessibility and making it a pillar of your game design, you are expanding your game to so many more people. You are, I mean, for me, it's just you're better. You're better. You're better. I love you. You're better. Like look at Forza Horizon 5 having ASL incorporated into the game.
We're gonna talk about
fucking
that.
amazing. Yeah. Fucking amazing.
Mm.
I've played Forza games in the past. I've played them in the past. They're fun. I'll play them for a little bit. This game, I'm all over it. I'm playing all of it now. I don't care. This is all it needed.
Since the end of October for myself, I've played Age of Empires 4, Riders Republic, and Forza Horizon 5. And then the start of those three major titles, it's just the most, like, the best accessibility options.
Yep.
Like, you've got the
that's how I've been
narration.
lately.
It's just great.
It's been wonderful, and I've been playing a lot of Insomniac games recently, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, and the accessibility options that they have incorporated into their games are amazing. Like, some of the most mind-blowing accessibility options that I have seen in games have been done by Insomniac. Which is a developer that I've always admired. Like I mentioned earlier, Ratchet & Clank was one of the most important game franchises of my childhood. So seeing that developer like make it such a strong point in their games to make them accessible to myself and people like me, it just makes me love them even more. Which again, with Psychonauts as well and Double Fine, they have also made that like such an important aspect of their games. And all games need improvement. There's no perfectly accessible game on the planet, but it's the fact that they are taking such time, such effort, to the point where they are even delaying games to better incorporate these features because they don't want to release them without them. And they're like, we aren't going to let this be something that we add to the game later. Like, this needs to be in it by launch because people with disabilities deserve to be able to play our game at launch. And that's just very heartwarming for me.
It's really good. Like when we went to PAX, what was it, like 2019? The whole conversation there for Microsoft was having like, you know, gaming is for everybody.
Yep.
And just
another good thing about Microsoft there is that on they have their insider programs, but they have a specific insider program for accessibility. So like I'm a part of it. Like you can join an insider program where you get access to accessibility options earlier, and you can give feedback on it. So like that's part of what I spend my time doing is I get access to these accessibility options early, and then I give them my opinion on them, which is typically, this is pretty great. Thanks, incorporate it, give it to everybody.
Yeah, that was kind of going to be my next sort of question is like, where do you see this going in the future for Xbox or even the other console?
I haven't seen a whole lot of improvement with accessibility from Nintendo, which has been extremely disappointing. Yeah. But Sony and Xbox have been killing it. I mean, even if I don't consider myself a big fan of The Last of Us Part 2, like, its accessibility options are out of the world. Ratchet & Clank, off this planet. Spider-Man and Miles Morales, absolutely nuts. Xbox, you have Psychonauts. You have Age of Empires 4. You have Forza Horizon 5. Halo Infinite's accessibility options are really great, too. Like, both of the two giants, I'm not that Nintendo's a giant, two of the three giants have made this such a huge point. To me, it feels like, I can't speak for everyone, but while they are not perfect, to me, it seems like they're already this good. Like, you looked at either of them a few years ago, before 2018, neither of them were nearly at this level, but they've incorporated so many new features so fast. And, like, Xbox actually has, like, director of accessibility on their teams now. Like, they have people whose specific intentions on every team for every game is for accessibility. And I think that's where the future of the industry is going, is you are going to see more game dev positions open up around teams. Hopefully eventually to more third-party games as well, where the point of the game is to focus on accessibility. And another game to point that out that's important to point out is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't had the opportunity to play it yet, but as almost every game I've mentioned so far, if you haven't noticed, has been a first-party title. You don't see nearly as much accessibility support in third-party titles, except for Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is a really big third-person game from Square Enix that is I believe caniplaythat.com, which is a
I was just about
game
to bring it.
journalism website by disabled gamers for disabled gamers. They gave it a 9 out of 10 and said that it was one of the best accessibility games with accessibility that they've ever seen.
The only issues they had with it was like not having remappable controls and the UI text was not scalable.
Yep, though those were like the two issues, which are issues, absolutely. But the fact that it scored so high from journalists that I hold highly really meant a lot to me, and I believe that hopefully they're leading the charge is what I hope happens for third-party developers. Square Enix is like, here's this. It dominated headlines for days after its accessibility options were shown. So like, I really hope that, you know, other devs take notice. Hey, you know, this is an important thing that we need to tackle. The industry is changing and we need to change with it.
Changing text just a little bit. Do you want to talk a little bit about the They Plays Games podcast and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. So I also recently started hosting a podcast with my good friend Caitlin. It's called the They Play Games podcast. It's hosted by two queer individuals. I am bisexual and non-binary, and they are lesbian and non-binary. And on top of that, I am also disabled. So we are attempting to examine the game industry through the lenses that our unique backgrounds offer to us, because too often voices like ours are dismissed in this industry. And eventually, once we're able to get video going, we want to bring guests on too and help highlight their experiences, because while we have our own backgrounds, we can't speak for everyone who's marginalized in this industry. So that's really what it's about. We want to highlight games that are from people of minority backgrounds. We want to help give them voices. We want to help bring attention to some of the issues that these groups bring. And just being from these groups, they're obviously topics that are important to us. So we have a lot of passion with doing that podcast.
Fantastic. So how long has that been running? Is that relatively recent?
Yes. So we just had our third episode go up on Wednesday this week. So our third episode went up. So we've been running for about 3 weeks now, I believe. But it's been planned a little bit longer than that. We first started developing our logos and stuff back in September, but it was a matter of planning out what we wanted to do in our episodes and getting everything set up on Buzzsprout and the distribution websites and all of that stuff. But it's been a lot of fun. We've both enjoyed it a lot. Our current system is we record 2 episodes at once right now, one about news and one that we call Shoot the Shit, where we just run through a long topic of things and go on tangents and have a good old time.
And say how much you hate fucking Joker.
Yeah, and how much we hate fucking Joker. And Chris Pratt, how much we fucking hate Chris Pratt. And it's a good time. It's a good time. And we bully each other, obviously. I feel like that goes without saying.
Yeah, of course.
I laughed so hard. I watch Jack's films regularly. And just him doing the video the other day of just like, what next? They're going to put like fucking Chris Pratt and Garfield? God, I hope I'm not around for that. Fucking 4 days later. 4 days later. Chris Pratt's announced the voice.
He manifested it. He indirectly manifested it.
All right. Well, yeah.
The tweets at the moment are just like, Chris Pratt Shrek 5. Chris Pratt Shrek.
No.
Screw. Oh, it'd be so cringe.
I'm done. All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike. I think we'll,
of course.
I think we'll get into some of the news that Cameron's picked out for us this week. What have you got for us, mate?
All right. Starting off, Hangar 13, the Take-Two interactive studio that was behind Mafia 3, especially. Mafia 3, right? Sorry. Yeah, they had a $53 million game that was cancelled.
Yeah. Yep. not a light amount of money.
No, I mean, to be fair, Take-Two do have money to burn, but maybe
they do.
But still, like, losing $53 million on anything sucks.
That's for the studio executives, though, not for the studios themselves.
Yes,
to actually burn
money. Of course, yeah.
So I guess the positive news out of the story, though, is there's been no layoffs as a result of this.
Yeah, no layoffs.
Bloomberg also reports that Hangar 13 employees will meet Thursday in Nevada, California, where the studio is based, to discuss what happens next. My a lot of people were saying it was meant to be Bully 2. But
I heard that at first too,
Yeah.
but the reports that I saw the most was that it was actually an unannounced IP.
Yeah.
Some people were saying Mafia 4, but it was later revealed by, I forget who, but they were saying that
I think it
Mafia
was
4
Jason
did
Schreier.
enter early
Jason
production
Schreier. Yeah.
back in like 2018, but it was canceled shortly after, so that wasn't this game either. So I don't think it was Mafia 4 or Bully 2. I think it was likely something new, which you don't see too often from Take-Two or Rockstar anymore.
No,
but
I heard that it was something it was essentially a Destiny clone.
that's what I
Interesting.
heard too,
Yeah.
was that it was supposed to be a game as a service, a gas. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Well, did they give any indication of why it was cancelled, or was it just kind of vague?
I don't
or
believe so.
They just said that. Yeah.
They haven't stated a reason, at least. I'm just happy to hear that there weren't any layoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the team Hangar 13 is going to be used for another project, at least, hopefully. So
Yeah, I'm just reading here. It apparently was due to reboots, technological hiccups, and challenges caused by COVID-19, which is
that's fair.
Very, very vague, but not unsurprising, I
Like-
suppose.
If you don't have the framework already set up to develop a game as a service, and then a pandemic happens, it's going to be very difficult to develop that kind of game. I saw a developer from Destiny 2 actually today tweeting about how thankful they were that they were able to ship like 3 or 4 Destiny 2 expansions on time despite COVID. But I mean, I don't know if you guys know anything about Bungie's works with COVID and the pandemic, but they were like right on top of it, getting systems established for development at home and giving everyone kits like immediately, like March or April of 2020. They were like, everybody, here's exactly what you need. So it doesn't surprise me that they were able to continue doing this. But a development team that hasn't developed a game like that before, for a studio that hasn't developed a game like that before, I can understand why they had difficulties to ship that during these times.
Well, what else have Hangar 13 done? Because like all I think is the Mafia series, and even then, like I love the Mafia series, but I wouldn't say they're the most technically sound games.
I mean, in terms of like visuals and that kind of stuff, I think they do a lot of interesting stuff, but they're certainly not like, don't blowing people out of the water.
What if I told y'all I haven't played a Mafia game?
Like that's some like you probably should, but it's not the kind of thing where it's like you have to go out and play it straight away. I think
I've been waiting for the definitive edition to go on a good sale or something, or I don't have a backlog full of games from my favorite series like Lost Judgment that I need to get through, and I still need to finish Nier Replicant too. Like there's so much. And Shin Megami Tensei 5 comes out next week. Like I don't know when I'm going to be able to play a game that's not from Japan again. Like, I don't know. I don't know, guys.
I would say if you had the opportunity to play Mafia 2 Definitive Edition, but even that wasn't made by them.
Yeah.
They only did Mafia 3 and Definitive Edition.
Exactly, yeah. And the Definitive Edition is really good.
Yeah.
But
I'm on the fence about it because I don't think it lives up to the... Like, I played the original, and this was the game that me and my brothers fought over. And there was so many features that were missing in the Definitive Edition.
Oh, that's
kind of
sad.
Disappointed me. But
I think it's one of those things that we've talked about a lot about, the chip shortage and the difficulty to even get consoles and that kind of stuff on the consumer side. But from a development point of view, with COVID and people not used to working remotely, and also like dev kits and that kind of stuff, because you still need the dev kits to be able to do this stuff, to actually, have access to the technology. And if you're not in an office space that can be shared with this stuff, suddenly everyone needs individual kits. It gets expensive. It gets difficult to manage. Like you can only, it's really not surprising that we haven't been hearing about this more. I guess a lot of the stuff happens behind closed doors, right? You don't hear most of the stuff. Most people don't announce that they've just thrown away $50 million on a game. So I imagine there's probably a few more stories.
Pocket change.
Yeah, just whatever.
Well, what was it last night that we found Grand Theft Auto 5 had sold like 5 million copies in the last quarter alone?
Yeah, in the last quarter it sold 5 million copies.
It's just how?
People have to be like eating it at this point. Like,
so who doesn't own this game already?
Like I don't like GTA 5. It's just not really a game for me. But I own like 2 copies of it, and I didn't buy either of them.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like,
you like games? You like Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the
I think
deal.
There's a game that Grand Theft Auto.
I think the main copy I have I got from Epic 1 month for one of their free games. I think it crashed their site too. I was barely able to get it because of how many people rushed to get it.
Yeah, I think Take-Two will be just fine, but I'm interested to see what Hangar 13 comes up with. I mean, I'm not a fan of games as a service as a thing, just because there's so much.
Agreed.
There's a lot of reasons why we've talked about it in the past around how much time and investment and how exploitative they can be sometimes. But
agreed.
Like Mafia 3 was an interesting game. The definitive edition they did some really good work to Mafia, so I'm hoping that whatever they do next is. I imagine it'll probably be closer to that vein, even if it is a new IP. I mean, I love new IP. We need more of that in the industry. But
I agreed. We do need a lot more new IP, which is one of the things that through the past few years, when I was a kid, I think when most people are kids, you never paid attention to indie games. But as I've gotten older, I crave just weird experiences. I want to play games that are so weird and so strange. I don't want to play games that are like each other anymore. I want to play just weird crap. And that has really just nosedived me into the indie scene because there's just so many interesting, weird experiences to be had. So that has my full attention. Every single time I see something on my timeline about an indie game that looks just slightly weird, I'm just follow, wish list, done.
Yeah. Have you just completely out of left field, but have you played the AI Somnium Files game that's on Game Pass?
I haven't played it on Game Pass. I own a physical copy of it for the Switch. And I played it last year, and it's one of my favorite games of all time.
I love it.
It is so good. The narrative in it is absolutely insane, over the top craziness. And I'm planning on replaying it, but I did every single route on the Switch version. So I'm planning on doing every single route again on the Xbox version because if you just finish one route, you're just getting 1/10 of the story. There's so many more twists and turns to the absolute batshit insanity that is AI, the Somnium Files. And I'm very excited for the sequel as well that comes out next year. I'm contemplating buying the collector's edition.
Man after my own heart. Yep, totally understand that. It's so good. And
that is the game that got me into visual novels was AI, the Somnium Files, and then I played Ace Attorney shortly after that, and that completely sold me. So
yeah, I'm really hoping they eventually bring over some of the Zero Escape and some of those other sort of games.
I would love them too. Yep, agreed.
All right, let's have a look at this story about Devolver here, Cameron.
Yeah, do you want to go with that one? You know most about it.
Yeah, so Devolver Digital's gone public, and so they've basically gone out and said, okay, buy some stock. Most of the stock is
with studios.
Yeah,
talking with publishers.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, they've gone live on the London Stock Exchange. They're floating around 950 million, which is pretty impressive. And Sony has actually made a 5% investment in it, along with NetEase. The Chinese video game behemoth, taking an 8% stake. Devolver's been quick to come out and say that the staff are still the majority owners. The founders and current employees are all owning a stake in the company. But it's sort of a really good validation for them to show that obviously they've been putting in a lot of work since 2009
they have been.
On just putting out weird, interesting indie stuff and just the amazing work they've been doing.
Not even games, even just showcases at E3.
Are you kidding me? Not even just their showcases. I have their biography. Their biography, and that thing is a trip. Yeah, I have it on my shelf right over there, right behind me. Whoop, that way, right over there. It's such an insane story. One of the main founders of it doesn't like video games. His friend just came to him and he was like, here's some money. And he's just been funding Devolver Digital up until 2009, not caring about video games or, who they were before they came out as Devolver Digital. But yeah, this goes back to the 90s when they first started trying to build this up with EA and other developers. And the guy the whole time was funding their stuff, based out in Texas, and he just doesn't care. And then the person that they say their CEO is just a fake Twitter account.
Yeah, exactly.
Porker. Yeah. He's a fake Twitter account. He's not real. Devolver's insane. I love them. I have 5 copies, or no, I have 7 copies of the Messenger. I have a digital copy for the Switch and a physical copy for the Switch, and I have the OST. Devolver Digital, I love them. Dream of mine is to have a game published by them. So maybe someday.
Yeah, they've published some really great stuff. I mean, just looking through, I'm just going through their list at the moment, and just like the Messenger is a fantastic
masterpiece.
Game. still way too fucking hard, but I love that game.
Shadow Warrior.
Hotline Miami, Into the Gungeon.
Masterpiece.
Talos Principle, and then Downwell actually is another interesting one.
I love Downwell. And Death's Door.
Just
this year. This year, Death's Door, Loop Hero, and Boomerang X, they all published this year. All three absolutely amazing games.
Yeah, they really feel like they're just going from strength to strength to strength.
Fall Guys last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Katana Zero in 2019.
Katana's masterpiece right there.
My friend Pedro.
Just left Game Pass.
Gary Roboto.
I'm really hoping that, and I doubt much is going to really change for them. It's really just an opportunity for them to raise some more capital, have more opportunities, and do well for themselves and the rest of the business. But I'm hoping that they don't lose that Devolver spirit over time. Like I love that.
I hope they don't too. Yeah.
I love the crazy E3 press conferences and when they weren't even allowed into the show floor and they set up in the car park outside and were like, hey, you want to come into this fucking RV and watch some weird video games and shit? Like, I love that. That encapsulates the experience so well. And like, I'm a big fan of indie games, especially now that, I haven't been buying stuff for the last couple of years. Devolver has put out so much stuff, especially on Game Pass. It's just been like, wow, like I'm so glad that this developers came to Devolver and said, hey, we've got this weird, strange experience that we don't really think would fit anywhere. Do you guys want to publish it? And they were like, absolutely. Let's get it on Game Pass. Let's get some publicity going.
Yep, exactly. They're like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Yep. Yeah. Like a disc room, they're like, yeah, we're publishing disc room, baby. That's ours.
Exactly. I love it. There's not really much else to the story yet because this just happened, but I just wanted an excuse to talk about Devolver because they're fucking
I really love that they brand themselves as your 6th favorite publisher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here's a message from your 6th favorite publisher.
It's 100% accurate. I love Devolver. They just put out great stuff. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah. I don't really have much more to say on that. I just wanted to shout out Devolver and just
yeah, we love you.
And go and play. All right, favorite Devolver digital game.
Ooh, I really like Talos Principle. Like, I think it's a really interesting, like, examination of like weird shit, and it's all kind of very mystic and interesting. And I mean, playing it's kind of but like the actual idea behind it is great. But there's so many good ones.
Are you really trying to make me pick between The Messenger and Death's Door right now? Because I don't know.
I'm gonna make it easy for me and say Shadow Warrior because that's the kind of like fast experience I crave. As much as I love Death's Door, the style of gameplay falls second to like Shadow Warrior.
I can't pick. You can't make me pick. I'm not picking.
Maybe you can say Hotline Miami. That's a nice safe bet, right? Everyone loves that.
Yeah, Hotline Miami's good, but it's not The Messenger or Death's Door.
It's not Hateful Boyfriend. That's the...
Oh, wait, did it Hateful Boyfriend? I love Hateful Boyfriend.
I gifted a copy of that to 2 of my friends the other month, and I was just like, give me your email. And they're like, what? And I was like, just give me your email. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they just like went to their email, and they're like, what is this? And I was like, it's a pigeon dating simulator. And they were like, that's amazing.
How do you feel about birds? And it's like, well,
you really know a person by how they react to them.
Very, very different. I have a very different feeling about birds when I finish that game. It goes places.
Yep.
Also, Cameron, you found something about some anime weeb shit going on.
Yeah. So I only just learned about this today, but apparently a Devil May Cry anime is coming out.
Yes, it is. Oh, they announced it years ago, and I have been waiting. I've been waiting. Devil May Cry, another one of the most important series to me. I have been waiting. I think it was announced back in like 2018.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, and I have just been sitting here waiting patiently with nothing. And then today they're like, the script's done, and I'm just like, they're like ladies in it, and I'm like, yes, she is.
Apparently, Chris Pratt isn't voicing anyone in it, so that's good news too.
Yes, Chris Pratt is not voicing anybody.
Now, there's a few things I want to say about this. So, season 1 scripts are done, 8 episodes, multi-season arc. Virgil and Lady confirmed to make appearances. Yep. And the best thing out of all of them, Capcom supports the show because we've already seen through watching Lights, Camera, and Action episodes that properties that have Capcom support have like they work to like very minute details in the background that makes the worlds feel alive.
Yeah. Take a look at the Resident Evil movies or live action movies versus the Resident Evil CGI movies, and just look at the discrepancy. One of those Capcom supported and are canon to the Resident Evil universe. The other ones Capcom did not support and are not canon to the Resident Evil universe. I don't think it's that difficult to guess which is which.
Yeah, and as we our previous episodes on Lights Camera Action, we did the Resident Evil movie, the first one, and then we just recently finished and put out our episode for Street Fighter. And Cameron and I had some disagreements on where Street Fighter should be on the list. I think it should be near the top. He thought more towards the bottom, but we couldn't deny that the attention to detail and the love for the actual aesthetic and understanding of like the games and the costumes and the characters and that kind of stuff was really felt through the movie.
Same with Dead Rising.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so faithful to what you feel in the games.
Yeah, it really feels like it's part of that universe in a really interesting way. So I'm excited. I mean, like I think we've seen a lot of really good stuff with animes based on video games recently. I mean, I didn't watch the Dota one. I heard it was okay, but not amazing. But Castlevania was fucking fantastic.
Castlevania is like the best I've ever watched.
Yeah. Castlevania is amazing, but another Capcom property actually also got an anime recently. Dragon's Dogma had its own anime on Netflix recently, which was good. It wasn't nearly as good as Castlevania.
No,
I didn't think it was bad.
I thought it was okay. I know it's getting another season, which I think gives them another chance to expand out because I think that I think it was all right. Like I think it was like a 6 out of 10. Like I think there was nothing particularly wrong with it, but I just feel like it could have done so much more.
Exactly. I would agree with that assessment. But Devil May Cry, I'm very excited for.
I'm very excited.
And ever since they released the information about the script, everyone's been posting pictures of Devil May Cry 1. And I just sit there like, have y'all played the games? Devil May Cry 3 is the first one.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, which is also my favorite one, tied with Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition because of the Virgil. Oh, I love Virgil. But, really hoping that they just start with Devil May Cry 3 because I need to see the intro animated. I need to see Dante riding a rocket, eating pizza, animated. I need it in my soul. I'm tired of using 480p videos of the game cutscene. I need that in high def animation because that will be the only GIF I ever use.
It's so good.
All right.
Yeah, Devil May Cry 3 is such a good game.
I want to ask this too because I'm not too sure myself, but is this Netflix?
Yes.
Yes,
it is Netflix?
Okay. Because Capcom have some exclusive agreement with them for their animated stuff that they're doing.
Like I know that it's like the producer and all that, but it doesn't mention once in the IGN article that it is like it says Netflix in there, like it was created by the same guy with the Netflix anime series Yusuke. Netflix has claimed Castlevania. It just doesn't say anything about it being on Netflix.
Interesting. I'm wondering. I mean, to be fair, things may have changed. Like that's not unheard of. But if they're producing it,
maybe it was just a read between the lines. It's going to come out on Netflix.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Netflix are dealing with enough Capcom properties now that.
Yeah, exactly. With the Dragon's Dogma anime
and Resident Evil, Infinite Darkness.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which was really good.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that movie goes.
Well, I mean, all this stuff is going to end up on Lights, Camera, and Action at some stage, I'm sure. So we'll see how it goes. And then you want to quickly talk about the Forza 5 sign language stuff. We briefly mentioned it at the top of the show.
Yes.
Yeah. So Forza Horizon's 5 sign language interpreters are a huge step for gaming. Basically, we've talked about accessibility earlier, but Forza Horizon 5 is prepared to go beyond with a first-of-its-kind feature in the AAA gaming world. They said that they've basically listened to the community from the get-go to make Forza Horizon 5 an exclusive experience for everybody to enjoy. And with this in mind, the team is excited to share we are working on American Sign Language and British Sign Language support for cinematics in Forza Horizon 5. So how it works is the sign language interpreters appear as a picture-in-picture display, providing a new way for those with difficulties hearing to experience the game's storyline such as it is. While a release date wasn't provided for the feature, the developers promise will be coming to Forza Horizon 5, available now for those who purchase the Premium Edition and on November 9th for everybody else soon. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading the rest of it. So other than, it's pretty much just that. for saying that Forza Horizon 5's wide suite of accessibility options also include the ability to play the game at reduced speeds while offline, high contrast, colorblind modes for better visibility, various subtitle options like adjusting size and highlighting keywords. And you said I can play that. No, can I play that? What was their...
Yeah, can I play that?
Yeah, what was their review on it? Do you know?
Ooh, they might have given it 10.
Yeah, I feel like it was a 9/10. Yeah, Forza Horizon 5 interview. We made accessibility one of our key project initiatives.
Yep. Yeah, they gave it a 9 or a 10. Can I play that as well? I can't remember for certain.
Right,
I normally read reviews for games after I've started playing them rather than before.
Of course.
9 out of 10. Subtitles are not available for GPS again. HUD elements could be made bigger and include backgrounds. Screen reader support seems iffy. Motion blur and camera shake is heavy and can't be turned off. Mm-hmm. But still, like, to get a 9 out of 10, like, subtitles are clear, legible, customizable. Text size can be increased. Game speed feature for offline play. Decent management of menus and game features and assisted driving. When you play it, it's weird to say, but in a lot of ways, 4 and 5 are the same in terms of like driving and all that still feels like natural and how it should.
Yeah.
But just everything around it, like the experience around it, like you'll finish a race and then the music will just pump up at the end, and like these large readable fonts. Whereas in 4 didn't have so much around that.
Yeah.
Like, and it feels like it's not just a experience that's how do I word this? It feels like they've done a balancing act of making accessibility work for everybody.
Exactly. And that is what accessibility should be. Accessibility is for everybody. You know, it's for everyone. But you don't have to have a diagnosed disability to benefit from accessibility. Anybody.
I mean, in such a way that, somebody else with that is a disabled gamer that would need very thick glasses, we could experience the exact same game. Nothing would be different.
Yep.
They wouldn't even have to change font size.
Yeah, it's just an integral part of the game. It was implemented with the specific reason.
Yeah. Which is so good. But I'll leave the rest of Forza Horizon 5 for what I've been playing because I'm gonna go on for a bit. And then we'll cover actually, we got 2 stories. Do we want to touch on the Psychonauts one quickly?
Yeah, let's do the Psychonauts one and then we'll move on. Yeah.
You don't want to talk about the Grand Theft GPU?
We can do actually.
It's fun. It's all right. So Psychonauts 2, we'll quickly go through. 2 things I want to cover about it is, 1, the game got a quality of life patch, which adds in features to help you find collectibles, which is, yes, for us achievement hunters, so much better.
And they also called out the one banana collectible that is the one that almost everyone missed, including myself.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I didn't miss that one. There was another one in that same level that I also could not find. But I did find the banana. The one
I was missing was the banana, and then there was a blade of grass that was the same, because I'm colorblind, right? It's the same color as a bunch of the other grasses around it.
I was missing the blade of grass. I think is the one that I was missing.
The way I got that was almost comical. Like it was like I was standing there and I was like, I found the banana here, so it's probably in this area because I obviously haven't explored it well enough, but I just can't see it. And I'm like, what? I turned to Alice. I'm like, what am I doing? And she's like, you mean she's like, walk forward 2 meters. I'm like, I walk forward. Walk right into it. It was literally right in front of me and I could not see it. And she's like, what are you doing? It's right fucking there. Just go. So yeah, it's like
when your future partner, when your future wife belittles you because you're colorblind.
Yeah, well, it's
hey, I'm also colorblind, so like I feel
it's hard.
I have something called shade blindness, where it's difficult for me to distinguish between similar colored colors when they're put next to each other. Like they'll look differently when they're apart from each other, but you put them next to each other and they're the same. So like when I was in high school, we'd go to like the gymnasium for assemblies and stuff, and there'd be the basketball scoreboards. And I went 3.5 years of high school thinking that every light on that scoreboard was orange, until one time at assembly, I made a comment about, I was like, you think they would give the numbers and like the timer and stuff different colored lights. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, well, they're all orange. They're like, no, most of them are red. And I was like, what? Also, most Christmas lights that are red look orange to me.
Yep, I can get that. Yep.
Orange and green seems a lot better than red and green.
Yeah, I was like, it's Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, pumpkin, exactly.
So going back to the quality of life patch, so they helped you find collectibles, organize completed areas, grab missable achievements, which is so good to hear as an achievement hunter, and more. I know that when I was playing through, I still got to go back to it, but I was being very cautious about the 2 missables, just because I didn't want to have to go back. I'm trying to... What else did they add?
Also updated the content warning for the game. So originally they warned of like the teeth imagery and stuff, but they added a new warning to it that warns of tight spaces and vomiting. So they added that to the game as well for people who have issues with that. So that was really nice to see, just because things like that can be upsetting to people, and you don't want your game to cause these unnecessary emotions for people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is kind of a bit of a blueprint for games going forward around they've we've seen patches before and bug fixes and that kind of stuff, but having it being like, okay, actually the feedback is the game, we don't want to change the game itself because we like how we made the game, but we also want to add accessibility or make it easier or implement things that are part of the game that are just optional extras that you can put on top to make your experience better.
So just add to that, the patch adds the auto spot filter for finding collectibles, which should be purchased after the main story for 75 did I say it again? Potassium?
It's
not
like
potassium. Yeah.
No, it's like Titanium or whatever it is.
Titanium is how I said it.
It's been a while, filter when active will highlight collectibles so that you can scoop them up as soon as you spot them. The filter will only highlight ones close to you, but since the fast travel menus will have check marks, you'll be able to see which areas you're fully completed to give you an idea where to go.
I mean, because that's
additional
really
psychosis meter will unlock in Otto's lab, which will allow you to engage in combat over and over again against enemies that are associated with missable achievements.
Yeah, so it's like an arena mode where they added, which is great because some of those enemies don't respawn. And that was really my only 2 knocks about the game was that some of the enemies don't respawn, so you have to be really careful about like the panic attacks. There's an achievement for killing them, and like the judges, they don't respawn, so you need to grab a hammer and hit someone with them.
I got both of those by accident.
Oh right, see, I got the judge one by accident, but the panic attack one, I was like, big warning, being like, do not miss this because there is no other way of getting it. So, I'm really happy that they're doing this, and I think that that was my one knock about the game, right? Was that you had to keep an eye on that, and the collectible, like combing through the game looking for those last collectibles and last few levels was just kind of like not fun. Like I'd gotten everything out of the game I wanted.
I was gonna say I really loved the Emporium level. But my love for it would be a lot stronger if it wasn't for the figments, because some of them were just so difficult to find because they just blended in with everything. Agreed. Not that I still don't absolutely love the game, but that was like the one knock, was that you're right. Like the big thing was the missable achievements, and then the difficulty of finding some of the figments. Like I probably spent an extra hour or 2 in the Emporium level, just going through every section trying to figure out where the hell the one figment I was missing was.
Yeah, exactly. I did the same thing with the library. I was missing one that I thought was like, oh, it's definitely in the boat area, and it totally was not. And I spent like 2 hours running around looking for it, and I just couldn't find it. So I definitely think it's the right move, and I'm hoping that they do more of this going forward for games, because it's. The thing is that people talk about, it's like, oh, it takes away the challenge, or it's like, well, like if I'm just going to a guide and following a guide, they might as well put that accessibility and that stuff in the game itself.
Exactly.
All it's going to do is drive me to an external source to help me with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like most people don't want to bash their head against the wall for hours on end until they find the one tiny optional collectible that they find it. I'll spend a little bit of time trying to find it, and then I'll try and find a guide. Unfortunately, I was reviewing the game, so when I was reviewing it and playing through it the first time, there weren't guides available.
No. Yeah.
But rare. Fortunately, I got the review code like 3 days before the game came out, so I didn't finish it until a few days after. So by then, guides started popping up, and that helped me get a couple of the figments that I couldn't find. But yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. And then this last story is a bit of a weird one. We've been it's pretty fucking hilarious. But so there's been a bit of a robbery apparently for GPUs. I think it was, right.
When you first sent me this, it's just like, all right, cool. So Payday 2 patch?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's gonna be the latest heist in GTA.
No,
Online.
guys, this is the announcement for Payday 3.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what they're doing. This is how they're announcing Payday 3.
It's like, yeah, they'll show up outside the police thing with a mask on the thing, and yeah.
Best heist idea of all time. Pull this off, but just do it as an advertising campaign for Payday 3.
It's like, yeah, a couple people died, and most people have no criminal record, but hey, man. We got like 5,000 retweets.
It's like we sold 20 million we got 20 million pre-orders on Payday 3 now. So like, it was worth it.
It's like, yeah, we even included a special edition where you can watch the trial of all these people who were involved in this robbery. But yeah, so I mean, like, there's not really much to say, but essentially there was there have been some GPU crimes occurring.
The real crime is how much the scalpers are trying to charge.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But apparently a shipment of them has been nicked out of a truck on its way from San Francisco to Southern California, which is just crazy. But again, there's not really much to the story. But this isn't the first time this has happened. Apparently, with the chip shortages, prices have been doubling in places like Germany and Austria. We saw yesterday. But everyone else has been like, but also they're going to release new cards, later this year or next year anyway. So maybe, I don't know. I was Cameron. You built a PC recently, right?
Yeah. Me and Nikita built a PC roughly.
Yeah.
So like you were looking at prices for components, right? It's still pretty high up there, eh?
Yeah. The only reason I got a graphics card was because it was an older rig that was built for a business.
Right.
So here, I have a game for you guys. Guess what graphics card is inside of my PC?
Ooh. Is it something in the 10 series?
No.
Oh, is it earlier than the 10 series?
It might be.
Oh my god. Okay.
See, I'm not going to be able to guess that. I'm never good with graphics cards.
Yeah, I was going to say, was like you have like a 6 series in there or something?
It's a 960.
Okay, like a 960 is okay. I mean, like, yeah, okay, 960 is pretty rough actually. To be fair.
Yeah, the only way I can stream now for Twitch is by doing remote play with my Series X. So my Series X is right over there, and my PC is right here. So I just stream games from 20 feet away and play them on that. And I have to use OBS for my stream client because it's the only thing that uses as little or as few CPU as it can for my PC to be able to do it at a decent quality.
Oh my god, that's pretty rough. I gotta say that's a bit of a yikes.
But I also bought the second hand from a friend for like $200. So
oh well, suddenly it all makes sense, right? Like I was thinking about building a PC. Like I don't really need one. I've got a quote unquote gaming laptop for whatever that's worth.
I was gonna say I do have a laptop with a 2060 in it as well.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that does kind of make all the difference. Nikita's one had a 1080 in it, right? I think, yeah. which I think is kind of like 1080 is what is kind of the standard sort of like affordable end of graphics cards. Like you can run most things on that at 1080 60. Yeah,
that's a pretty decent build for the price though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's also highlighting that like the
graphics card shortage is a joke.
It's crazy
because we live in a time where this Christmas is going to be Switch shortages. There's already PlayStation and Xbox shortages, and now we're like, as been for a while, we're just completely out of luck graphics cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything with any electrical components. Next year will be microwaves and kettles.
I mean,
I'm a doomsayer.
Yeah, I think
I'm surprised that there's not more shortages for phones, if I'm being honest.
Well, I think the thing is that phones tend to get priority, right? Like the phone companies spend so much more because phones are so ubiquitous that they're like, well, if there is any availability, we're fucking buying it.
Yep.
But
which I'm about to upgrade, so I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, like I've been using I have like a one of the Samsung A70s. Or no, I can't remember what it is. Is it A70?
I have an S10 Plus currently.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. So
it's not super old, but it's a little old at this point. But I'm planning on getting the Z Fold 3.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. That'll help me with my Game Pass counter stuff, because I can have my list up on one screen, and I can have the sources that I use to cite from on the other screen, instead of having to slip through my tabs all the time and accidentally close stuff and have to reopen it up and want to blow my brains out. And it's fine.
Yeah, because like so with my laptop, like I'm running a 1650 Ti, which is like, it's because it's a laptop, it's like, whatever. But like I got a really good deal on this last year, but I couldn't, like, if I wanted to get the same thing now, it'd probably cost me almost another $1,000. Like, it's insane how bad it's got. And I was
fortunate. I got my 2080 Ti laptop for I got it for $1,200 USD, which is good.
That's a steal.
It's a Republic of Gamers too, so it's not even like it's a cheaper brand. Like it's a nice laptop. And what I did for it is Best Buy had this promotion where I could buy it and like I would get a credit card with it, but I couldn't use the credit card for any other purchases, and as long as I paid it off within 2 years, there'd be no interest.
Right.
So I was like, so that's just an interest-free loan then, and I'll close the credit card when I pay it off. So I'll do that.
Sailor Maddie in chat says they managed to get a 3080 Ti and it took them almost a year. And that's kind of where I'm looking, right? Like, if I'm going to upgrade, I'm probably going to go like get a 3080 and something ridiculous, 32 gigs of RAM.
Yep.
I'm going to wait a few years until they actually.
Exactly. Like, it's the thing where it's like, well, at this rate, I might as well wait and look at the prices next year and plan for the year after. But
insane.
Take out a second mortgage.
Well, it's like basically, it's like, I'll just tack it onto the house price, right? Because I guess, like, I don't really need one, but if I'm going to be doing streaming and the podcast and that kind of stuff, I do probably need a dedicated desktop at some stage.
Yeah, that's the main reason I'm looking at upgrading my PC. It's like, my laptop's fine. We currently record on my laptop, and, I'm trying to stream, but it would be nice to have a PC that could reliably do these things instead of having to split it between streaming from my Xbox and doing the podcast recording on my laptop at my dinner table.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to. It's like, okay, and I have to get everything set up and get my audio redone every single time because I don't.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Yeah. Because I also only have one mic, so I have to take it from my PC and unhook it all, and I have to go take it out to the dining room and hook it up to my laptop.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we should probably get into what we've been playing then. I'll go first because I only got a little bit to go through. I have been playing River City Girls, which is what I based the song on this week.
Great game.
Like I really enjoyed it. It has a little bit of a slow start, like the
yes.
It's the combat until you unlock a few abilities and kind of get an idea for the controls and how the combat works. I think it's a bit rough. Like that first couple of bosses are kind of but I've done the game twice now because I did the PC version as well because it's also leaving Game Pass. Took me about 8 to 10 hours to do 2 playthroughs of each. I had a really good time with it though. It's pretty basic. My only real gripe with it is that it only has local co-op. It really needed online co-op.
Yep.
Like I wanted to play.
I'm hoping that River City Girls 2 will have online co-op.
Yeah, I feel like they've been getting that response a lot, right? So like I wanted to play through it with Charlotte because she's really enjoying it. So.
Yeah, and it was I think it was kind of a risky game for them. The series had been dormant for so long, and then they were like, we're going to bring it back in a very unexpected way. So the reception of it, it could have been anything in today's climate. So I'm very happy that it received a very positive reception. It's one of my favorite beat 'em ups in recent years, that and Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah, but overall, like I had a really good time with it. I'm hoping that the second one is like bigger and better, like because that was really my only thing about it was that it's a short game. Like if you just run through it, like there's like 6 bosses.
But also that's also a lot of beat 'em ups are a little on the shorter side
for sure
because they're meant to be replayed. That's part of their appeal is to be replayed. And especially like Streets of Rage 4 where there's a lot of different characters and they all play differently. So like part of what they're trying to do is to get you to play through as each of them, and there's different dialogue and different scenes depending on the player that you start off as and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, so I'm hoping they just do more and more for the second game, because
it'd be nice.
It's a great concept, and I just want to see them expand on it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the genre as well has just kind of been in the state of stagnation for a while, where nothing's really been pushing it. Like Streets of Rage 4 was a great return of the series. River City Girls is a great return of the series. But I could really use something that takes the genre and is like, we're gonna take it to the next level. We're gonna modernize it just a little bit. Because I felt like in both of those games, as good as they were, that was lacking a little bit for me.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. I also finally got back and finished up Hitman 2. I talked a little bit about it last week, but Hitman 2 is fucking great. Like that, like IO Interactive basically hit it out of the park with this new Hitman trilogy that they've done. And going back to I was basically I'd done the first game a couple years ago, and I jumped onto the second game because I realized that all the DLC carried over, but you had to redo all the maps. And so I spent earlier part of the week just finishing up the last few maps of the second game and then redoing the old maps. And the old maps are good, but they've actually only gotten better with time. And just like the amount of stories they put in there, the creative kills that they do, and the humor is still just top notch. Like they understand their audience so well, with like terrible puns for the challenges, lots of like really ironic dialogue, you know. Like every fucking character always makes some sort of joke about dying. It's like, oh, you know, you're dressed to kill, or or it's like, oh, can you strangle this cough out of me? Or like, it's just like it's every single, like they get it. Like they get, they're like,
it's a series that I really, really have wanted to play for a long time. And I gave the first one a try earlier last month, but I had to drop it because there is no way to get subtitles when you're eavesdropping on people. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing now, because I don't know what they just said. I couldn't follow what was going on.
I think they may have added them in, or at least in the second game. I know, because in the second game it has been a lot better.
I might have to pick up the second one. I don't even know how I owned the first one. I was just going, when I got an external hard drive for my Series X, I was just going through games that I own to just load it up with games, and it was on there, and I was like, I guess I'll download it and try it. But yeah, I was very disappointed. Like, I liked what I played, but as soon as I got to eavesdropping, I was like, I do not know what's going on in this moment anymore.
I think the best option right now is to pick up the third one, because you can get the second and first one as DLC for it, and it has all
the third one I really want to play.
They have all the UI improvements and little tweaks that they've made to the engine and all stuff, and all that carries back to the old maps, so you can play it in the best possible version. So I'm looking at picking up.
I'll probably look at that then.
I'm probably going to pick up the third one when it goes on sale. I'm sure it'll go on a Black Friday sale, because it's been almost a year.
Most likely, it's been almost a year since it came out. Yeah, I'll probably give. Like I said, I'll give the series another try. It's disappointing, like finally trying the series that people have been talking up for so long, and like in the tutorial having to drop it because it was inaccessible to me, and I'm just like, oh, awesome.
Yeah. At least as far as I'm aware, like, because I had subtitles up for everything, but then I've only been playing the second one, so I don't know how well it's aged. But, but yeah, I'm having a fantastic time with it. I finally got I started it like right after I finished one, and I got burnt out really quickly, because I was like, man, I have to replay all of these maps and also do all this new stuff. And the guides out for it, for in terms of some of the challenges, were okay, but not amazing. So I felt like I was kind of just like running around in circles, or like the stories that they lead you on, that the breadcrumbs are really, really good in terms of getting you into like, hey, you want to see some crazy stuff? Here, like, you can just follow this step by step and you'll see it, or you can turn them off and just kind of experience and go out and on your own and just do your own thing. But yeah, highly recommend it. It's a fantastic game, but at this stage you might as well pick up the third game if you're not interested in the achievements. If you are interested in the achievements, your best option, you could, it's difficult, but I would say this is going to get complex, but pick up the second game, get all the DLC, play through all of the second game and the first game DLC for it. And then all of those achievements will automatically unlock when you bring it over to the third game. Don't worry about the first game at all, because none of that stuff carries forward. Anyway, But I'm going to do all of them just because I love those games and I love the achievements. So, but yeah, so that's been the sort of the big thing that I've been playing when I should have been working on games that are leaving Game Pass. I've only got one more to do. It's Final Fantasy VIII on the PC, which is...
You're doing all the stacks, aren't you?
Well, the thing is, I already did River City Girls 1 and 2. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
River City Girls, the PC and the console version.
Yep.
And then I'd already done Final Fantasy VIII on the Xbox a while ago, just because when I was doing the whole franchise.
Yep.
But I've been putting off the stack because I was like, Final Fantasy VIII's not that good. It's it's pretty rough in terms of...
I mean, the only thing it's got going good for it is the cheats.
Yeah, well, that's... Yeah, and the fact, like... And Triple Triad is a really, really good card game, but...
Yeah.
The story-wise, they can tell that after the success of 7 that they really rushed it out, and they were like, we need to get another one out of here before we move on to 10, and then 9, and then 10. But yeah, I think it's fine. I'll play through it a bit more, but I'm just not super grabbed by it. And then the last thing I played a little bit the other night was Unpacking, which
Unpacking is great.
Just got released to Game Pass. It's a fantastic game. Like I absolutely loved it. It was a super chill, really good at contextual storytelling,
and in theme of this episode, great accessibility options.
Yes, really good accessibility options. I didn't use them because I wanted a little bit of a puzzle element. I didn't just dump everything on my bed like I imagine you did, Cameron. I actually wanted to
see. I did turn on the option, but I decided I didn't just like unpack it anywhere. I unpacked it how I would have actually unpacked my own house.
Yeah,
because
that's
they like requires you to put it in specific places, but like I will take things out of box and I'll kind of put them in groups for where they go before I move them to their final spot. So that's kind of like what I did is I put stuff together because that's how I actually unpacked. So I liked that they had this option that could make it like a little more personal for like me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I can understand that. Yeah, and it gave me a real feeling of, because like I've moved a few times and like, you know, my life's changed a fair amount, and I think this is an experience that most people can relate to in one way or another, because it goes through a lot of stuff around like, okay, like being in a childhood home and like, you know, decorating it, and then like moving out of home and moving into like into a place where it's like, oh hey, I'm with a roommate and they have a bunch of this stuff that I can't move. Like I can't touch it so I have to like work around it. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm moving in with someone who already has their entire life together, and I have to try and fit myself around them, and I can move some of their stuff, but like,
not all of it. Yeah.
Like
the real touching moment for me, like this game made me reflect on like myself a lot and think about like the things that I have carried with me throughout my whole life, and like what if this was me, like what games, what items do I have that you would have seen since the first level? But like the one moment that really got me is when I still had the accessibility option off. It's when it has you take the picture of your former partner and put it in the cabinet.
I was trying to figure out what to do with it. I was trying to like put it in the sink and destroy it.
And
or whatever.
I was like that moment really, like, it touched me. Like that moment really hit me, because it's like, yeah, you were just with this person, you moved in together, you thought you had their life with them, and then, you know, here you are, you're having to package that up as you unpack the future of your life. And like, it's so weird to say, because like you're literally just unpacking things, you're just unpacking boxes, but the game is so weirdly intimate in the way that it tells its story. It's like we were talking about with weird games. This is a weird game. There's really nothing else like it on the market that tells a story in the way that this tells a story, and I loved it. Like I honestly, like, it's a highlight game of the year for me because of just what they managed to do with such a simple premise. They were able to do something so large and so unique, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I have one question for you guys. The degree that you have. What did you do with that in the level you move in with the boyfriend?
I think I hung it on the wall, but I couldn't find
the thing is, I couldn't find a spot for it on the wall.
I couldn't find a spot for it on the wall either. I think I put it under the bed.
That's what I did, and I was like, wow, okay, this is actually like, I was like, okay, I get it,
Because that level felt like for a moment that like our main character was like putting their life on pause, because you also don't see as much of their drawing supplies, because you learn throughout the story that they're a graphic artist. Like they go from doodling as a kid to being a professional artist. and you don't see any of those supplies or anything really in that level.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff missing.
Like, it really feels like a level that our main character really lost themselves.
Yeah.
And again, it's just so cool that you know so much about this character and their life and their story, and like literally it's just unpacking.
Well, yeah, there's no dialogue, there's nothing.
It's funny
there's
you mention
no dialogue.
Isn't there a saying with women that you can tell a woman by unpacking her handbag?
I mean, you could tell that from unpacking anything, I suppose, but you're probably right.
I think that is a saying, yes.
But like that's how this game acts. Is that the level 2 that you have to rearrange the male's underwear in the drawer because
for the achievement? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I also forgot to mention that Witchbeam did win Game of the Year for 2021 at the Australian Game Developer Awards for
Oh, that's great. Yeah, like I said, this game is it's good. I think so many people are going to sleep on this game, but even aside from the narrative, like the audio design of this game, it's absolutely incredible. Getting so many unique items to interact in a way that not only sounds realistic but pleasing at the same time is so cool. I was literally just trying to combine items to hear what sound they would make, like putting your toothpaste and razors inside of the cup that comes in there and stuff. Like, I was just trying to figure out what I could do.
The game fits together like a puzzle in a way that makes so much sense. Where I was like, oh well, I'm putting the toothpaste and this sort of stuff on the counter, and I was like, And I saw a cup, and I put the cup down, and I was like, and I just tried to put. I was like, and in another game it would just be like, no, like those things don't fit together, like they're two separate things. But I was like, no, absolutely, you just put the toothpaste and thing in the cup.
Or how like you can just lay your clothes out on the bed, and then you can grab a hanger and then pick up the clothes to hang it up instead of trying to, put the hanger up and then grab the clothes and put it on. You can just do it all at once, which I found really nice. Like there's so much attention to detail in this game. It's insane. I really love the game. I love the main character, even though I've never seen their face and I've never heard them say a word. I love their story. I love how they develop and find themselves throughout the game. I like when they had a baby and they got married. Like I was actually emotional. Like I was like, this is so cute. Like this is just such a wonderful, wholesome little story about a person that we've never met, developing throughout their whole life.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic game. Really, really enjoyed it. Charlotte was the one who recommended that I play it, so thank you for that, Charlotte. It was a nice palate cleanser also after like doing all this other like grindy stuff.
Do you remember seeing this at PAX? This was PAX at 2019.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to it. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I like the art style and stuff, but I didn't really, didn't really dive into it.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting this just to be like a little puzzle game. I was not expecting it to actually have an emotional impact on me, but I was wrong.
It's great.
But yeah, that's all I played this week. It's been a bit of a quiet week for me, so that puts me at 4,375.
I have more gamer score than you this week.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't get comfortable.
I was saying, can we cut him out of the feed? I got the mute button here. Don't worry about it.
I was also going to say, this Game of the Year awards for the Australian game developers, a few titles this year. I forgot to say they also got the Excellence Award in Accessibility for Unpacking.
Good.
Forgotten City got Excellence in Narrative, which I played recently, and it's an amazing
I
game.
have only played the mod of that fully, but I am planning on playing the full game of it soon. But Cameron, I believe you know by now that I am a bona fide Skyrim slut. So obviously I have played the mod. And I do plan on playing the full game, but like Tales of Arise is dominating my life at the moment. Cameron.
I need somebody to play this game so I can laugh about the Karen joke.
I will play.
Okay, I'll give you a choice, Cameron. I'll give you a choice. When I finish Tales of Arise, do you want me to start the Forgotten City or Lost Judgment?
Do the Forgotten City. At least it's short.
Do Forgotten City. You can do it done in one night. Sorry, I can do it in one night. You can do it in 2 nights.
I was gonna say, hey, that's just more so an attention span issue for me and my ADHD. You've seen me stream. I'll play 5 games in an hour and a half long stream. I don't care.
You know what I'm like. I'll message you at 3 a.m. in the morning and you'll tell me to go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Yeah, I will be getting out of the shower for work and you'll be like, morning everybody, and I'll be like, Cameron, go to sleep. It's like, me and Caitlin were talking about that yesterday. We were talking to my fiance Jenna. And we were like, our morning ritual is yelling at Cameron to go to sleep every day. That's our morning ritual. The first thing we do when we wake up and get out of the shower is Cameron says something. We go to sleep.
My brain.
Like, it's only midnight.
My brain, like, after it's 12 o'clock, it's just like, I need to make stuff. I need to consume content. Like, I need to.
So this is why we have 5 redesigns of the podcast in 17 episodes.
All we needed to do was wait until Forza Horizon 5 came out for me to lay off a little bit.
Exactly.
Slow down.
Exactly.
Actually, I was going to finish with the last one, and Excellence in Art. Who do you think won it? It was another Game Pass title this year.
Ooh, a Game Pass title. Excellence in Art.
Excellence in Art.
Sorry, Excellence in Art and Excellence in Audio. That should give it away a little bit more.
Art and Audio. Does it?
I have no idea.
Art's in the name.
What, Artful Escape?
Oh, the Artful Escape? Okay.
That's 100%.
I didn't realize that was
10 minutes of that. Yeah, I've only played that like for 10 minutes. I need to get back to it, but
so good. So good.
I have a bad habit of like games come out on Game Pass and I'll like try it out. Because I play multiple games at once. I have like one big game that I play at once, which right now is Tales of Arise. And then I have like one game that I can only play on my laptop that I can play at a time, which right now I actually have. I have one. I have Age of Empires 4, which I'm playing right now, and then I have a series of smaller games, indie games, or just shorter games that are on Game Pass that I'll be playing whenever I need a break from one of the longer titles. So, like that's what unpacking was for me, even though I was playing Tales of Arise. So, I have the habit of just starting all of them at once and just kind of seeing what sticks and holds my attention at once. And I think the Artful Escape came out around the same time as something else that I was just got my attention a little harder. I don't even remember what now.
That probably rolls us right into what you've been playing recently then, Mike.
So yeah, as I've mentioned a lot, I'm playing Tales of Arise right now, and it's probably in my top 10 games of all time. I absolutely love this game.
Another one for the list.
So much. It has one of the best casts in gaming I've ever experienced, and there are over 300 optional cutscenes that about everything with the characters. Just the characters interacting with each other, talking about their trauma, helping each other, growing and initiating those bonds. Like, I have never seen a JRPG pay this much attention to the cast. And just watching them all grow and overcome their trauma. Like I said, the intro makes me cry when I watch it now because of how much I know like about the story and how much it shows. And earlier this week in my Discord, I sent a screenshot of a pink flower and a blue flower, and I just went, I could write an entire essay on this one screenshot. There's so much depth and detail to the characters and story of this game. And then the combat's phenomenal too. The way that I've been describing it is that it's like Kingdom Hearts but less floaty. So like you have a lot more weight, you're a lot more grounded, but it's like the same buttons do your combos and you can chain stuff. And it's the same kind of like you're in a confined circle or squarish type shape and fighting. So that's kind of how I described it. But besides that, I played Unpacking, which I also talked about. But I also had the opportunity to review a game called The Legend of Tnd this week, which is from a Taiwanese developer about a Taiwanese folk hero. It's a 2D action platformer, currently only on PC and Switch, but it is amazing. Like, the art direction of it is crazy. The only game that it reminds me of and how it uses art direction is a Sega Genesis game called Comic Zone, which basically is a comic brought to life, except for The Legend of Tnd is a manga. And it is so cool to see. Gorgeous art style, wonderful characters, super, super unique combat system. The only area where it's kind of traditional is the platforming. It's fairly simple. You have a couple of gadgets that can give it a little bit of depth, but not a whole lot. It's fairly basic, but it's challenging, but not too hard. It maintains fun. Wonderful game. And then I started Age of Empires 4 as well, which is my first Age of Empires game. Really been enjoying it. I actually haven't touched it too much, but I got through the tutorial and started the first campaign. And that was a lot of fun. And then on stream, I've been playing Moonglow Bay, which is another recent Game Pass edition, which is basically very Stardew reminiscent, where you have your house and your town is in disarray and you're doing something to try and revitalize the town. In this game, it's fishing instead of just farming and fishing and mining and all of it kind of wrapped up in one. But Moonglow Bay has been very sweet, very relaxing time. I have deemed it the perfect no bones day game. So if you are someone who leans into the bones, no bones fanatic brain waves, then you might enjoy Moonglow Bay on a no bones day.
All right.
Very good.
Do you know what your gamer score is?
For this month, it's around 6,000, I think, 6,800 something.
All right,
A couple of completions in there, like unpacking, and then I finally got around to the Dark Grim that Cameron told me about, and that was a mind trip as well. But yeah, so I think I'm at like 6,800 something, but I'm trying to get to 200K by the end of the year, or at least 175, and I think I'm at 162,000, somewhere around there at the moment.
Nice.
Total.
All right. Yep, you got time. That's good.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, Cameron, what about you, mate?
I don't think we need to say anything more about unpacking. I need to go back and just clean up a little miscellaneous achievements, but I was just trying to get through the game and just experience the levels first. Other than that, what was the other one? Outlast. I went back and did some Outlast the other day, which was really fun on stream to do, but then horror games don't have an effect on me as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went back to... this has been, like, 6 years since this came out? And I played it...
a while, yeah.
Played it around launch, went back to it, I'm just like, I know where the jump scares are, I know... Like, I've only played this once. And it's just like... the scariest part of the game to me was getting outside and then not knowing where to go. And then having an audience of, like, 6 or 7 people on Twitch... and going, well, I don't want to look up a guide. I'm fucking lost. All right, let's swap over to Ghost Runner. And
Fair.
Ghost Runner is a very good game. I haven't finished it yet, but I was waiting. I got it like a month before they announced the free next gen update. So then I was like, okay, I guess I'm putting this on pause until the next gen update comes out. So I need to get back to that at some point. It
was a very interesting night of streaming because I essentially went from doing Outlast for a bit and people were like chiming in just like, oh, this is scary and all. I'm like, is it? Am I just not affected by horror games whatsoever?
Unless they started playing Ghost Runner and you're just raging. You're just like, ah!
Yeah, Ghost Runner.
That's my experience with Ghost Runner. Yeah. The first boss, I think I died 129 times too, and it only took me 20 minutes to beat it. So I died 129 times in 20 minutes.
Jesus Christ. Maybe I won't play.
It's a one-hit kill. You get hit once and you die.
It's fun because it's that fast-moving like action that I want. Yep. But anyway, started doing that for a bit, and then one of my viewers in chat just started like having conversation with me. So that then descended in her jumping in a party chat with me, and then spending 45 minutes of learning Italian.
Oh, right.
Because why else?
I mean, to be fair, like we know from this most recent episode of Lights, Camera, and Action, you sure as fuck can't speak Italian. So,
I mean. I did learn how to say your handcuffs are beautiful.
Did you learn how to say? Did you learn how to say goodbye?
Arrivederci.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, okay.
What?
Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. The Patreon knows.
At least I'm not saying peace.
Peace, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was that. That was a very interesting night. I played Project Wingman for a little bit, which still has 2 unobtainables. But as far as I'm aware, they're working on a patch. It's basically like complete 2 chapters. It's a good game, but it wears thin really quickly.
It's a flight sim, flight combat sim, right?
Like flight combat sim, yeah. I really enjoyed it for like an hour, but then it was just like, it's a sometimes kind of game for me.
Right.
Like the narrative didn't really capture me. Like, there's far too many enemies and the battles. Like, you know, if it was quickly go through the missions and the campaign was like 4 to 5 hours long, I'd be okay with it. But each mission's like, I'd say like 20 to 30 minutes at least, and it's 24 chapters.
Right.
So just stretch. Yeah.
Okay.
And then plus you have to also complete a full campaign before you unlock whatever nightmare or insane difficulty is.
Okay.
So it's a 2 playthrough kind of game. So I might do some more of that, but yeah, it kind of wore me thin a bit. My main 2 for the week is last week when I had Percy, we went and got Riders Republic, because we traded in some games. I'm under the belief that it's from the developers of Steep.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So it's like snowboarding, air races, rocket races, BMX, and it's amazing. Like it is honestly like, I don't care for sports games all that much. Like I'll play them just to experience them. And you know, like I've got a few FIFAs and all that about. Just, you know, if a brother comes over or something, just to have a game, because I'm not really fussed about putting that on my tag. But this, you know, I kept on finding myself coming back to it during the week. I was at one point on the treadmill where there's like just doing user generated content, and I was just running on the treadmill and doing that at the same time. Like that's how fun it was to me.
That's cool.
Oh, all right.
So it's not too bad, and like some of the achievements are like just complete 50 user generated challenges, and it was to the point where I was like, all right, cool, I can easily do this one on the treadmill, doing two things at once.
Yeah, I haven't heard too many people talking about it yet.
I think it's made me to realize that I think the formula that Forza Horizon have a massive open world environment, which is essentially a check-off list, where you can go in any direction you want. Like you could start with your, I guess it's a little bit different with Rise of the Republic, because you do the BMX stuff first. Like you do like an hour of stuff, and then everything's opens up to you, pretty much. But you know, if you're feeling like snow races, you go and do all the snow races. You feel like BMX, you go and do all the BMX. Landmarks are pretty cool. The only gripe I have with the game is essentially $15 for like skins is the Ubisoft microtransaction model, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, like you were talking about how it's a checklist with an open world. I mean, that does sound like an Ubisoft game, right? Like they know how to do that, but the other end of it is that, yeah, they get very, very sticky fingers when it comes to wanting your money for macro transactions in this case. Like, what, $15 for a skin is nuts.
I think Brad was saying about it the other day, and I was kind of like, you know, I wouldn't honestly bat an eye if it was like a few 50-cent to like $2 skins.
I mean, I'm still not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan, but like
it's still better. Yeah.
I know that that's what they're optimally going to work with the live service stuff. But I mean, like $15 for a skin that you like, I can understand that in like a Fortnite model, but I can't understand it here when you're paying for.
I mean, even in something like Fortnite, like a battle pass is usually around that much, which you get multiple things for.
Exactly.
So like in another game, you could go and get a full battle pass for the price of a skin in Riders Republic, which is a little bothersome. My biggest gripe with the game, I haven't played it, I dislike that there's not an apostrophe in Riders. It really bothers me. It bothers me so much. I'm an editor, so I look at the name and I'm just like, an apostrophe, it's possessive. It's the Riders Republic.
I gotta say though, the best thing about the game is it's clearly a group of old Ubisoft executives sitting around in a room just like, how do we make our games hip and cool again?
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna
how
say,
do we get to the and the
how do you do, fellow kids?
Exactly, yeah.
And,
word up, kid dogs. Yes. How's it chilling?
The cutscenes are just like, you know, you got to get on that hype train and just like buzzwords. And it's,
I felt this saying that, like, mentioning like the pretending to be young, is I had the opposite experience this week at work, where I got the new or not the new, but I got the pomegranate winter edition of the Red Bull flavor, and I got it at work, and I was talking to my coworkers about it. I was like, oh yeah, it smacks, or I said it slaps. I was like, it slaps, and they're like, slaps? And I was like, y'all haven't heard slaps before?
Oh boy, he's streets
and
behind.
Then I just had the realization that I'm like a decade younger than everyone else I work with. And I was like, all right, sorry, it's very good.
It is acceptable, and I enjoy it.
I enjoy this drink. It is good. I would have another one.
Yeah, there's a lot of sponsorships in Riders Republic 2, speaking of that. From, I think, Ford all the way up to Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Red Bull makes
sponsor
sense.
Me.
Yeah, Red Bull sponsor us. Yeah, exactly it. They'll send like one soul can, and I'll be happy with that.
I was gonna be like,
give me a blueberry Red Bull, please. I will consume it in approximately 15 seconds, and then have a mini heart attack and then I will proceed to grab another one.
I will do the same with Maximon if they finally end up sponsoring us. Hey, Cameron, have you hit them up again?
I'll just hit them up every month. Just like, all I want is one soul ice cream.
It's like, mate, all I want is an ice cream sandwich, and we'll talk good about you.
Actually,
we're
very quick tangent, but I learned that KFC is trialing Maximons in the ACT.
Oh my god.
And that was like 2 weeks after we had that podcast episode. I found that out. And I'm just like, somebody somewhere is watching my podcast.
Yeah, they're like KFC and Maximon.
Fried chicken and Maximon? Just like,
I wonder who came up with that idea.
Yeah. But
yeah, what else?
Rise Republic's been really good. A lot of it is essentially just doing like 50 free-for-all races and all that. The only problem I'm having is finding the multiplayer. Also, mass races. 60 riders at the same time doing multi-events, like going from like snowboarding to BMX to like flying, is fucking crazy as all fuck. But I love it.
Does it work?
It works. Like, it works exceptionally well.
Okay, all right.
That's good.
That was always my worry, because I saw when they showed the trailer for it, and they're like, oh, they have all this transition stuff, and they have a guy on a bike, and then a guy on a jetpack or whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, this looks cool, but like, how much of it is actually like dynamic?
I mean, you missed like one of the hoops in the air for the air races, and you're fucked.
Right.
That's the balancing act there. But I mean, most of the ones that I've been doing, like, thankfully it's complete 50 and not win one.
Right.
Because I'm getting like 30s. I'm getting about like midway for most of it, but
gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty fun from what I've been playing, and as soon as I blaze through like Forza Horizon 5, I'm gonna go back to it and probably complete it as well. But I would dare say, it's one of my games of the years, but for like different reasons than everything else is at the moment.
Okay.
Just because it's so unique an experience to everything I played. But what everybody else has been waiting for, Forza Horizon 5.
All right, thanks for being here, guys.
So first off, I want to say like, previously we talked about like the perfect achievement list, yeah? And I've often cited games like Wolfenstein, like the New Order, as being the perfect achievement list.
So good.
I agree.
For like just completing a game. Essentially, this is my now perfect achievement list.
Really?
Because everything that they've done for DLC and 4 has essentially been bundled into the base game.
Okay.
You think like Super 7 came out as a free update, Eliminator came out, all those little additions, I shouldn't say little additions, but all those additions that added to the content that was Forza Horizon previously, being available at launch while still having amazing showcases that now have more variety in terms of how you want to play it. So essentially how it was in the past, you just picked like a festival site and you go and do whatever races there, and that was pretty much it, yeah? Now you might have a certain area, like the north of the map might be broken into your volcano race, your movie stunts, and like one other thing. You might be going up to the very right of the map and you'll have like the Colossus event, which is essentially the whole map, but in that kind of road race.
Okay.
You could have like a float showcase, which, bit of a spoiler, but the float showcase is really fucking good and I love it.
Okay.
Like blazing down in a very, very fast float that looks amazing is just fun. And then at the same time, I had to pause, take photos of it, and just go, I really, really want like an arcade racer to be the fun DLC this time around. Like arcade racer in terms of something like Micro Machines.
Micro Machines,
yeah.
Right?
Like, is Micro Machines the Xbox One Games of Gold? Like that had the open environments that was kind of like Hot Wheels.
I don't know.
No, Trackmania.
Trackmania.
I want something like Micro Machines and like Track Turbomania.
Okay, all right.
But I mean, whatever they do, Hot Wheels was great. Lego was great.
Yeah. People love that stuff. So.
I've already addicted to my McLaren Senna again from 2018, like I did with the Hot Wheels DLC. The only disappointment is it's not Lego this time. But essentially, I have now done 578 roads in a day.
Fuck. That's a lot of roads.
I essentially swapped to New Zealand time, started playing this early, played until 3 a.m. my time, woke up at like 7 the next morning, did a few matches, got ready for the day, and then just streamed it until like 6 o'clock. And then I went, screw it, we're going out for Mexican.
Oh man, I really wish I could leave the house. That'd be great.
We went to a Cantina, which is like a high-end Mexican place in Bendigo. And we got like, what was it? Quesadilla, beef brisket. Oh, it was so good. And just some like really nice tacos and churros.
Ah, God, churros. Love me some churros.
Salted caramel and and chocolate dip.
I know what I'm doing after this.
But yeah, pretty much the comment I had to say about Forza Horizon 5 was like, it's the perfect blend of showcasing a developer's passion into a game and giving you like that tight, fun experience, while also like crafting everything like so like they've taken so many notes of the issues that people had before. Like Seasons, I had a massive issue with, and it doesn't bother me now because everything's like just procedurally, like generated depending on like Mexico's weather. Yeah.
Right.
So like I think I've only done like 1 or 2 wet races and they've been fun.
Because depends on the biome, right?
Yeah.
And also the season. Right. Okay.
But
I might have to have a look at that achievement list then.
a lot of it's like I think the grindy stuff will be the Hall of Fame, which I laughingly like because Hall of Famers kind of just looked at it and I'm just like, I need to do this. I need to be one of the first people that gets it done.
All right, well, good luck to you, mate.
And a quick shout out to Robbie because we both had early access and started at the same time. The XP boards and the streets at the same time. It's just like 22, 22, 23, 23. We kept on seeing each other. We're just like, we're going to beat him. So the only concern I have this morning is he's probably 2 hours ahead of me and I need to catch up.
Yep. Yeah. What are you doing, mate? Get up. Come on. We're done. We're going to wrap it up. Anything else you played this week?
Look, I've played a few other things, but nothing really to... Like Ghost Runner, I haven't even popped an achievement and I put like an hour into that just to get a feel for the controllers. That's going to be a really good game, but I want to have like a few nights to die. Like lately it's like I need to go back and finish Guardians because Guardians was amazing. Like I'm pretty sure it was like Red's one of his top games of the year.
Yeah.
It's an amazing experience and I reckon you should definitely dive in like once it's on a sale.
I will. As soon as it's on sale, I'll pick it up.
Rise Republic's like really good and I want to go back and just complete. That doesn't seem like a difficult achievement list. It just seems like it's one of Ubisoft's ways of just making the game a little bit longer. But because the game is basically multiplayer content for like a lot of it, or just time trials, it's not that bad to me. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Forza Horizon.
I imagine there'll be a lot of DLC though.
Yeah, I imagine they're gonna keep on pumping it out. Forza Horizon, and then just Age of Empires 4 would be the only other one that I've been playing, but talked about it massively last week. Campaigns are amazing. The narration is amazing. I'm not sure if I covered it last week, but if you're having issues with the audio, just run it through your speakers rather than the headset, because that was my solve. But yeah, 5,538 for the week.
Oh, not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. I won the week.
With the easiest game.
Hey, I still won.
Hey, look, take your wins where you can get them, you know?
All right. Speaking of winning the week, let's go over to our...
Actually, in fact, Cameron, every month that we have been friends the last 3 months, I have beaten you at the end of the month.
That's because I don't have the easiest games available anymore.
Yeah, but you're the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, just like a red-headed step.
All right.
Matt's having no problems getting 30,000 every month. So you have no excuses.
How many Game Pass titles you done?
I have no idea. I don't track that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maze, you're competing on that here. I'm the Hall of Famer for playing the most Game Pass games.
I made Game Pass counter.
Yeah, actually, that's fair. Can't really argue with that, right?
Maybe I just need to make Game Pass counter 2.0. I don't know.
You need to make Game Pass counter 2.
whole marketing campaign about it being the sequel. All right, let's get into the.
But it's actually just the same site.
No, it is. Yeah, it's just new skin, new hat.
just prettier.
You just swap the black and green spots. So where it's black, it's green. Where it's green, it's black.
It got purchased by Ubisoft. It has a bunch of microtransactions now.
So you have to,
age list is a
you have to go around the map.
For $15, you can get a PlayStation skin.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck. Don't give them ideas.
For $15, you can get a Switch that doesn't work. Sorry, Switch online service that doesn't work, and it's not even $15. It's $30.
All right, what's the leaderboard for this week, Cameron?
Mephisto 7,565 in third place. Jimbot UK on 14,565 in second place, and Thrash Forever on 14,780. Has GTAS started yet?
No, starts end of the week.
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Jimbot was probably prepping.
Yeah, and Thrash is probably doing the same actually.
Yeah. And Mephisto's probably just trying to overtake you.
Yeah, good luck. Oh, did you see? I didn't get a chance to mention it, but the we are past the 31st now. So I got my goal come up, and it just said so the goal was to beat my gamer score by the 31st. And it's actually disappeared, so he must have deleted it. I guess he was about 260,000 behind or something. So
Oof.
didn't quite work out for him, but good luck, mate. Better try next time.
Now you'll think he'll do the sneak attack, and we'll check this back in a week.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, it's like I keep seeing him on top of the leaderboard, so now to keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Oh, very good, very good. Let's go into our question from our.
Oh, do you want to go to the proud and not proud moments, or?
Oh, I've got community questions first.
Oh, you got it first? Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, so Isaac asked, what games were you super hyped for but ended up completely disappointed with, and have the developers fixed the game since launch so it's actually decent now? Thanks for taking my question. When I thought about this, there's not a lot on the list like of recent titles.
I have one.
You want to go first then?
Yeah, 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I was so disappointed with 12 minutes. Like, it might be like my least favorite game of the year. Like,
wow.
I was expecting to really eat up the game, and I played it, and I was like, what is this garbage? Like, I'm very sorry to the devs. I know they put a lot of heart and soul into the game. Which my problem isn't really with the development, it's more so with the writing. But man, was I just heartbroken at this game.
I agree. The narrative falls short.
Very short, severely short.
It is a very good canvas. Like, if you could pull that off with a really good story, it would be amazing.
Yeah, like it could have been really good. It could have been an exceptional game that defined narration this year, but it dropped the ball so hard.
Yeah,
so it made me sad.
It kind of disappeared from conversation very quickly too.
It did. I actually put up a tweet today that said 12 minutes feels like it's been out for 12 years. Because it feels like there's nothing. It's gone from conversation. I forget that it exists until someone else happens to mention it, or I'm scrolling through my achievements and I see it there. I'm like, oh, that garbage exists.
I'm not as much of a critic of it, only because it made me realize that I actually really like point-and-click adventure games.
I already knew I liked them.
I mean, I don't ever play point-and-click adventure games. Like, I don't think I've played a point-and-click adventure game since, like, Putt Putt and, like, Pajama Sam and all that, like, back in the early years of my life.
Oh, you've missed so many good ones.
You've missed so many amazing games.
I need to do, like, Monkey Island and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I
Monkey Island.
And Full Throttle and
have you done? There's a really easy completion.
Yeah, I need to do the ones
Little Acre.
I've done Little Acre. I enjoyed Little Acre.
Little Acre.
Little Acre to me,
I like visual novels, which have even less gameplay than a point and click. So, like, I like point and click games because I could literally watch a pure visual novel that has like even less gameplay than Ace Attorney has. And I'll be happy.
I like the fact that point and click gives you so much accessibility to be a background gamer. Like, it is the perfect thing. Like, I could just sit in bed with Nikita and go, all right, we're going to play like 12 minutes. And just working it out together, like using our brains together to figure out the story. Like, the story wasn't anything at all.
No.
But just having that cooperation, there's not a lot of chances that we get we can do that, especially with the indie games that we want to play, like River City Girls example. I was asking yesterday to Matt and Charlotte, I want to play this game. Can both our profiles be signed in at the same time so we both can get achievements? Oh no, they can't. I'm probably gonna have to play it solo now, which is kind of lessening the experience for me because I don't.
Well,
want to
if you do
twice.
get a chance, to play any game co-op right now on Game Pass, it has to be It Takes Two. Phenomenal game.
Yes,
phenomenal game.
I was going to stream it the other night with we know him as Sony Pony to You, or CJ, who is the number 2 trophy hunter in Australia, and he is an absolute blast at causing havoc.
Oh yeah, the man is
game
chaos.
is so fun.
Yeah. The man is.
I've been playing it with my
fiance
fiance slowly throughout the year, and it's a really good time.
So
it's a really good game.
It's funny enough, he's actually on next week's podcast with us, and we're gonna try and fit in It Takes Two sometime during the week so we can talk about it together next week.
Good.
I might try and get it done this week as well then.
Yeah.
So we can all talk about it.
It's a great game.
It was meant to release on the 4th, but I'm guessing it must have been American time.
It's out now, yeah. I just saw the
because it launched alongside Forza Horizon 5, and I mean, come on, you can't do that to me. Going back to this question though, the games that have launched that I've been severely disappointed with, Halo MC.
Yeah.
Which they've improved that massively over the years, so I can't it was broken at launch. It's now fixed. There's not much else to say about it. Destiny 2. Just because I had so much love for Destiny 1. Back around that time, I think it was 700 hours I put in, which the only other titles I've done that for is Forza Horizon, so I had a lot of love for it. And then just Destiny 2. I don't know if you can really count that because it's series as a service.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm kind of
I feel like they fixed enough fundamental things with it that wasn't just added content that I feel like it would count, because it wasn't just improved through adding content. They changed fundamental aspects of the game that people had issues with, and addressed certain things. And I feel like that's a difference than a lot of service games might have done.
The jump from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 for me is Destiny 1 I played 700 hours on. Destiny 2 I completed in the first 2 or 3 weeks of it launching. And
I played Destiny 2 for the first week and I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Destiny to me. Other than the gameplay itself, in terms of you shoot a gun and it feels good because it's Bungie. It just didn't feel right. And Anthem is one that I think I am going to be more receptive of if I go back and play it now.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm very upset that Anthem Next was canceled. When I played Anthem for the first time last year when it went on sale, the physical copy for $1, and I got it. I started playing it, and I was like, what is here at it? The core, the bones, the skeleton is very good. The gameplay and how everything feels is very good. The suits are very interesting, but everything else literally just feels like a reskin of Destiny. It's you guys could have done so much more with this. So I was really hoping that we would get Anthem Next, because that's what they were promising. And then EA was like, no, Mike's not allowed to be happy. He doesn't get his Iron Man simulator. So
the problem I had with it was and this is the thing. It could have been improved so much with just quality of life patches. The shop just going in and out so many times to do basic things. It just felt very unimmersive. The gameplay itself was really fun, but if you ever wanted to go back to the hub area, whatever it is in Destiny and Anthem, those kind of games, it just was so disjointed from the game itself. And then at the same time, when the game first came out, it didn't have the end game kind of content that you were hoping for.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But we've seen so many games like Anthem before where it, even Sea of Thieves is a comparison. These games aren't anything to me at launch, but then you wait 12 months, they're amazing, full of so many experiences. This is why I love Forza Horizon 5 so much at the moment. They've taken everything like that has been added in the Forza Horizon series and plugged it all in at base day. And then I have the feeling that Forza Horizon 5, they'll just add new stuff in as well. And then as soon as Forza Horizon 6 comes in, it will just be a bigger game. Or a live service game at that point. Who knows, but...
Yeah.
I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, I think in terms of the stuff that I haven't been excited for a game in a long time, just because I'm cynical and jaded. And I don't.
Who hurt you?
See, I get excited for games so easy.
I can't do it anymore. The thing is, like, I have so many games, and I'm always like this year has been a year that I played more new releases towards the end of the year than I have most years, to be honest. Most of the time, it's just backlog and kind of getting to stuff when I want to do it, and not really being interested in the zeitgeist. But I've been getting excited for things like we've been talking a lot about like It Takes Two and the new Life is Strange was really, really good and stuff like that. But most of those things are things that I discover are good afterwards. Like, I'm not super hyped for them before they come out. For that,
I will say that does happen with me a lot too, where I'm not super excited about something until it comes out. I will say one game that I think you would like a lot because it's a very fun completion is Death's Door. So whenever that goes on sale, I'd say keep an eye out for it.
I did it. Yeah.
Oh, you've already done it? Okay, good. Because that was I haven't gotten the umbrella only achievement yet. I've been working through it slowly. I do have it. Like I have it in progress. I just haven't finished it yet. But I have found the rest of it to be a very fun completion.
Yeah, I liked it for the most part. I think like art style and music and everything in World is quite good. My big problem with it was the umbrella playthrough just kind of makes it not fun because it half the.
That's why I've been playing it in little bits. And it's fighting the normal enemies isn't bad. It's whenever you get to a boss fight. The boss fights are just painfully long in the umbrella.
That was my biggest issue with it. But like overall everything else was great. Yeah, so in terms of stuff that I was excited for that I was disappointed by, the original Spore back in the day was a big one.
Oh God. Fuck,
that was a nightmare. No Man's Sky a little bit, though I didn't really buy into the hype. I was kind of like cautiously interested. But I said the one that really sticks out for me is actually Final Fantasy 13. Because Final Fantasy 10 might be my favorite game of all time. And like I really like 12 as well, even though it's a very different thing. And 13, like the fact that it came out, it was basically just like a corridor. You're walking from one corridor to another. I didn't really like any of the characters. The story was an absolute mess. I was super, super disappointed by it. 13.2 was really, really good, and I was happy about that. But like 13 was one of those things that was early enough in when I was getting into video games that the hype really got to me because this was like the early 360 or sort of early mid 360 when they announced it at least. So I was like, oh, I'm interested in this. This is the kind of time where I had money to buy games, and I was super, super disappointed by it. I really, really didn't enjoy it. I did finish it because that's just how I am, but. Yeah, I can't really think of anything recent because usually I'm just like, well, whatever. If it's bad, it's bad. Like it's no skin off my back.
That reminded me of one. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, I can understand that.
The wait for that game to not really live up to.
It was never going to live up to
I liked Kingdom Hearts.
Me too. To me,
it was more so
an average
different
game.
Perspective.
Yeah.
I have a different perspective though, because before Kingdom Hearts 3, I had really only played Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2.
Same.
So I wasn't like super into the series. I had really only played the numbered games, and when I got it, I was like, yeah, everything in this just feels like newer version of Kingdom Hearts 2, and Kingdom Hearts 2 is awesome. So I'm cool with a fresh take on Kingdom Hearts 2.
I think it just felt a bit average, just particularly for how long we had waited.
Yeah.
That's fair. No, like I said, I believe all the criticism for it are fair. It's just like my perspective on it. I enjoyed it a lot, and it had Toy Story as a world, and I absolutely love Toy Story. When I first played the game, I stopped in the Toy Story world when I started it. I grabbed a second TV and set it up in my living room, and I did not leave the Toy Story world until I finished watching all of the movies simultaneously as I played it. I was playing in the Toy Story world and watching the movies, and I didn't leave until I was done.
Nice. Can I just add to that? Can we criticize Chris Pratt for playing any animated movie ever and just promote Chris Evans doing it instead?
Sure.
Even
and that's the thing. There's so many Chris's that are better.
We get Chris Pine.
They could have picked any other Chris.
We get Chris Hemsworth.
They picked the worst Chris. They could have picked a better Chris.
But yeah, hopefully Isaac, that answers your question there. So yeah, we're we've got a few things here and there, but I don't think that there's too much that we get super excited about until it's in our hands, because we've seen this industry, we know how it works, and talk is cheap.
Game Pass has done like a really good job of like managing expectations too, because
exactly
it's not getting hyped up reviews anymore. It's like just experience it for yourself.
And a lot of times you're like, oh no, it's just out, just play it.
You just play it.
So Cameron, do you want to talk about this new feature that you put in here?
So if you haven't realized already, we have a new Discord, which is discord.io/holygamerspod. Basically just so we can promote, like if me and Charlotte are streaming, we can promote there. We can promote the podcast. You can ask questions there. The word challenge is there. Do we do the word challenge?
Yes, we'll do it after.
We'll do it after?
I've got a new one, yep.
Yep, cool. I've also added 2 new channels under the podcast section, which is the Proud Moments channel and the Not So Proud channel. Not So Proud Moments channel. So essentially how this is going to work is you're free to nominate yourself or anybody else is the caveat with that. So Proud channel is to post yours and your mates' proud achievements, so we can give you a bit of that, we can go through on the show, give you a bit of a pat on the back. Not so proud moments is when we go, Valak, you really became the new Red, didn't you, on your lead up to 1 million gamer score by doing like 10 5-minute completions this morning. What makes that so great?
Yeah, it's a name and shame, because Cameron loves negativity on this show.
No, we're balancing it out with the positivity.
Sure.
But yeah, we've had a few posts in Proud Moments already from you, and some from Charlotte. Charlotte did Last Stop. You did Rip City
Last
Girls.
Stop was a good one.
I thought it was okay.
What else? And yeah, Not So Proud Moments is still a healthy little virgin at the moment, waiting to.
Yeah, there's no one. we haven't got anyone who's not proud of what they've done. Which I think says more about achievement hunters than anything else.
I think one of the reasons why I liked Last Stop a little bit more than most people I think did is because I played it right after 12 minutes.
Oh yeah, me too. Okay. Actually, yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, so this is what it's like to have a mystery game that isn't bad. That handles a weird twist at the end that isn't gross and disgusting and ruins the entire game.
Yep.
All right, and
so yeah, if you want to join the Discord, it is discord.io/holygamerspod. Pretty much all the competitions and all that will be done there. There's now a Patreon channel set up for discussing the Patreon draw, which I'm yet to make for this. Wait, did I make this one for this month? I might have.
You did, didn't you?
I can't remember.
I don't know if you published.
I have not had much sleep since Forza.
Yeah, all right. We'll get to the Patreon bit in a minute. So we'll just kind of wrap up the show here, but we're you can join us live on Twitch. We do this every Friday or Saturday, depending on what week it is. Usually around 8:30 p.m. New Zealand time or 11:30 a.m. New Zealand time on the Saturdays. Basically, so we can have wonderful guests like Mike here, not have to, get up at some ungodly hour of the morning.
Yeah, they tried to get me on before, but I would have had to get up at like 4 a.m. on a day that I worked.
Yeah, so we're trying to, encourage a little bit of variety, make it a little easier on our guests. But you can join us on Twitch at Hall of Gamers Pod is the URL. Yeah. Come join us live. We do the show each week, and we're happy to have you. And we can also answer questions in the chat. Charlotte does a great job moderating it. We've also got the Hall of Gamers Word Challenge, which for those who don't know is I pick an obscure or strange game, and people have to guess what the game is in a very special channel on our Discord. We've got a new one for this month. If you guess what the game is, it'll show, a gift will show up, and you win $20. Simple as that. We've got a new one for this month, and the clue is it is a side scroller. That's the only clue I'm giving you. We'll give you some more some easier clues as time goes on, but I don't want people winning it in the first or second week like they used to, because we've only got the reason we do it is because Patreon only pays out every month, and so we only got $20 for the whole month, so I gotta make it last. I gotta stretch my budget, Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Patreon, patreon.com/Hall of Gamers is a place where you can go give us some money so we can continue to do the show. Cameron's going to shout out all our patrons in a minute here, but basically it allows us to do competitions, pay for equipment, hosting, distribution, and keeps the lights on really, and just we literally could not do the show without the patrons. So we're hugely thankful to them. Cameron, do you want to read out that list of our current patrons?
Yep. So our current patrons are Mad Lefty, G Spaceman, Admiral Awesome, Odrin Johnson, Keo, Cobra Todd, Meagle356, Charlotte, Kung Fu Skills, Hawkeye Barry, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 7, Brad, and McLovin Legend. Old McClown. I had meant to blank on what his game tag was.
If you are interested in joining the Patreon, we do have two bits of content that are exclusive to them. We do the Lights, Camera, and Action podcasts, which we just put out our latest episode yesterday, which is a show where Cameron and I, and sometimes a guest, we had a special guest this week, jump on and talk about a video game movie. We talk about what we think about the franchise in general and what we know about the movie beforehand. We go away and watch it, and then we record the second bit later afterwards with our thoughts and impressions. We do kind of like go through the movie and talk about scenes and bits we liked and bits we didn't, and kind of what we think about it. And then we also rank them, which that ranking has gotten very contentious this week. I'll tell you right now, because Cameron doesn't know what a good movie is. But if you're interested in that, the first 4 episodes are on a Patreon for everyone. If you want to go and listen to them to get an idea of what the content is. But the other ones are Patreon exclusive. So it's available at any tier. So you don't have to pay us $10 a month just to get access to that. But we do appreciate any contributions that people give us. We also have our contest that Cameron organizes. What have you got for us this month?
All right. So our Patreon draw is essentially like a community directed competition where we pick a few games that we like that are like fairly recent or newer titles coming to Xbox. We essentially go, all right, it's up to you guys to vote for which game you want to be drawn out for the month. We picked Encodia, Ever Tried, and Cyanide and Happiness. Encodia was the... what was it? You're the one who suggested it.
Encodia, it's the robot one, right? The robot, like I think it's like a point and click, was a really beautiful art style.
Ever Tried... Yeah.
I'm looking. I definitely want to play it.
Yeah. Ever Tried was like a turn-based action kind of game, and everybody is voting for Cyanide and Happiness because why wouldn't you? Freak Apocalypse Episode 1
looks good. Looks
like 4 votes, and I'm definitely picking this up for myself when I get a chance to play it.
So again, thanks to all our patrons as always. We try to offer as much as we can, but we do know that we're operating at a loss. We get it. We get it. You guys are giving us money, getting a little bit back, but we do really, really appreciate it because it allows us to do this each week. But with that, that's pretty much going to wrap up the show. If you want to get in contact with us, you can send us questions to hallofgamerspodcast@gmail.com. We've got our Twitter @hallofgamerspod, our Discord, discord.io/hallofgamerspod, and our Patreon, patreon.com/hallofgamers. If you write in questions to the show, we'll try and get them on next week. Isaac does a great job of sending them in, but if people are interested, you can also hit us up on the Twitch while we're live, get some questions in there. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Neomaster on pretty much everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. Mike, what about you, mate? What do you want to shill?
Oh, you can find me just about anywhere at Mike Szoke, my name. That's on the screen. You can find me. I'm very creative in that. It's just my name. So Twitter is where I mostly post most of my stuff, but I also stream here on Twitch at Mike Szoke. If you go to my Twitter, there's also a link tree in my bio that has everything else, like Game Pass Counter, the Discord that I run, Vase Play Games Podcast, which you can also find on Twitter at Vase Play Games. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it. It's very easy. You search Mike Szoke on whatever platform you want to find me on, and chances are I am there. And I have the link tree in the bio there that has everywhere else you can find me.
Fantastic. Cameron, what about you, mate?
You can find me basically Shadowless Edge on pretty much everything. On Twitter, on TA, Xbox, and streaming pretty much nightly now at Shadowless Edge, _ on Twitch. Basically just showing off all the new titles that are coming to Game Pass and a few like random odd new games in there as well.
Sweet. All right, well, that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you again, Mike, for joining us. It was fantastic having you on.
Me.
And a big shout out to Charlotte, as always, for being a just fantastic human being and the best moderator anyone could ask for and not pay. And with that, that's going to bring us to the end of episode.
And not even the fans. Not even the fans.
The fans are fine, but the ones that give us money, we really thank.
And a shout out to everybody watching right now because you're the people who support us, and thank you very much. And before Matt closes off the show, make sure tell a friend.
Yeah, if you've made it to the end of a podcast, you understand you gotta rate, review, subscribe, word of mouth, all that other bullshit. You guys get it. We'll catch you guys next week. See you later.